victories each year.
Today I'm part of DAV. We're veterans helping veterans to get the benefits they've earned. And I give my veterans my all.
But there's more to be done and more victories to be won.
My victory is being able to be here for my children.
Naomi Mathis, thank you for your service. May your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome into Sports Time on a Tuesday, April 4th. Bryant Dacus, Brett Norsworthy, Jay Morgan Harder with you for the next 2.5 hours. We're out early for Ole Miss baseball as they're here in Memphis to take on the Tigers at FedEx Park, usually at AutoZone Park, but some changes this year.
And the Redbirds.
And the Redbirds start tonight, so the game at FedEx Park tonight. So a home game for the Tigers, a legit traditional home game for the Tigers tonight as they take on Ole Miss. But me and Jay, we're sitting in the Family Leisure Studios over across the river in Arkansas. Brett Norsworthy joining us as always. Brett, how's your afternoon been?
It's been great, Brian, and there's a lot to do. There's nothing to do around here, crowd. They're taking a serious hit tonight. Got the Grizzlies as large a favorite as I can ever remember them anywhere.
Yeah.
At home would probably be the place to start looking, but it's that big tonight against Portland. You have that with the Grizzlies trying to carve into that magic number, and then you've got baseball from Tigers campus to downtown at AutoZone Park. You know there's going to be somebody. There's going to be somebody go to AutoZone Park and think, well, this is where Tigers and Ole Miss always play when Ole Miss comes up here to play, or basically over the last 20 years when they come up here to play. In fact, I wonder when. I wouldn't begin to know when the last time they did indeed play it on campus at FedEx Park, Nat Beering Stadium. I wonder when the last time was. But that would be fun at the University of Memphis and at the home opener at AutoZone Park downtown, and it sure feels different than it did 23 years ago for the opening of AutoZone Park. And I don't think I'm different. I think it is different.
Yeah, I think so for sure. But, I mean, I think the team's going to be good this year. I mean, they've got a lot of prospects in that organization that are going to be in Memphis this year. I think this year is going to be closer to the team we saw 2 years ago than the team we saw last year. Gordon Graceffo making his debut tonight. He's one of their top pitching prospects. So hopefully they can be a very successful team this year. But already had, I think, 3 games over the weekend in Charlotte. But this will be the first full week of games, so it should be a fun season.
And you were very excited about Matt Liberatore.
Matt Liberatore, 7 strikeouts in his first appearance.
And you said that there was a beat writer in St. Louis.
Yes.
David
Gould.
That said, well, we didn't have to give him credit because I might bias him a little bit. That said that Matt Liberatore was the quote-unquote sixth starter
for the Cardinals. That's right.
Not sure that's the term of
Derek
endearment.
Gould wrote that?
In their little weekly Cardinals talk or whatever, he put that in there.
I didn't catch that. He really covers the team well.
Sure does.
Not sure that's the term of endearment that he wants it to be, though. That your sixth starter
as bad
as Liberatore was.
I don't know if he really wanted it to be a term of endearment.
Or the little newsletter.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. But last night, Jake Woodford, not a great start.
Why was he out?
You're big on Jake Woodford.
I love me some Jake Woodford now, man.
Ooh, that ball Austin Riley hit.
Oh. What was it, like 473?
If they tracked Santa Claus on Christmas Eve on NORAD, they got that ball somewhere in flight.
No, it was incredible. And like you were saying, Jay, I mean, why did they left him out there 6 innings?
Let him throw 90 pitches.
I mean, it was insane.
Really did.
But,
just let him eat it.
I don't understand.
Just let him go and go. But it was good. You know, we got through most of that, and then we were able to watch the national championship game. So we kind of got to take our minds off of the Cardinals game because that was ugly. And the national championship game wasn't as close as I would have liked it. Both of y'all were spot on with the UConn minus the points and the over.
I had to hustle to get to that over.
Sure did, but it was really outside of the first 2-3 minutes of the game. It was all UConn.
it was like a lot of their games in the tournament. And I told Jay Morgan before we came on today, I promise you, if we restarted the tournament tonight with the play-in games in Dayton, played the whole thing over again, I think UConn would win it again.
I think so too. I mean, they were. I said this yesterday. They were one of the 7 or 8 teams that met the KenPom criteria, and even had the better offensive numbers than defensive numbers that you really kind of look towards. So I think so. I mean, they turned it on at the end of the season, but this is also a team that really turned it on at the beginning of the season. Kind of had those lulls during in the middle of the year. But I agree with you. I would say. They'd probably be my favorite if we started it all over again. But hindsight's 2020.
I don't want to diminish anyone. I think they were probably the only one of the Final Four that if we replayed it all over would get there. Mm-hmm. San Diego State could get into you and guard you, though. They really could.
Yeah.
But I think they just wore down last night with how well UConn does that and how patient UConn could be on that offensive end. You could feel UConn. We'll try starting everything in the post to Sonogo. If that doesn't work, we'll work the wing play. If that doesn't work, if we miss a shot, we'll go get the rebound and start it all over again.
Yeah, I mean, and you talked about it, the two-man front court down low, the 2 big men, Adama Sonogo and Klingon. I mean, San Diego State didn't have any answers for either of them, and how UConn was able to space those 2 out where, I mean, you got a lot of Sonogo, and then when Sonogo needed a breather, you'd bring in Klingon, and so you never really had a moment when you were San Diego State where you didn't have a massive big man in the paint, and that's what really hurt them down the stretch, especially when it came to the rebounds.
And the Memphis Tigers and UConn in the news today is the Maui Invitational for 2024, not this November, not Thanksgiving this year. Thanksgiving this year, the Tigers basketball program will be at the Battle for Atlantis in a star-studded field there. But in 2024, the potential, there's only one team out there that can be back-to-back national champions when the Tigers go to Maui in 2024, and that's UConn. UConn will be in that field with Dayton, Michigan State, Iowa State, Colorado, Auburn, and North Carolina. So 2 years in a row, the Tigers at Thanksgiving will be in a field with mighty North Carolina. Yeah. It will be interesting to see if Hubert Davis is the North Carolina coach when the Tigers go to Maui in 2024. He will be next November, this coming Thanksgiving this year, when the 23-24 season starts in the Battle for Atlantis, and the Tigers will be there with Arkansas, Michigan, North Carolina, Northern Iowa, Stanford, Texas Tech, and Villanova.
Yeah, 2 great tournaments every year, and for the Tigers to be able to get into that, I mean, I think that's what Coach Hardaway and the staff wants to put on that schedule, be able to face a lot of these big-name teams, these blue-blood teams on a yearly basis, and that's how you do it. I know last year going into that tournament they played, we thought that there'd be some good competition, and it ended up not really being that way, but this year and next year, you know without a doubt that you're going to see some good competition in both those.
You go 2-1 in those, and you just about and just do anything, just have a pulse the rest of your non-conference, and that just about does enough network for you to go out there and even go 13-5, for sure 14-4 in the newfangled American. Yeah. But for Coach Hardaway, if y'all won't play me, I have basketball, we'll travel.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got to do that because so many are and so many are resistant just fundamentally to playing anyone.
Right.
They did because we now have such these big conference games, and by 2024, I don't know if it will or won't. But what if the SEC goes to 2 more games, goes from 18 to 20? And then those coaches are just so reluctant to play anybody of the renown of the chops of Coach Hardaway and the Tigers that he's got to do what he can do at holiday time.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you're one of those SEC teams, if they added a couple more games, I mean, if you're one of those coaches, you definitely want a Northern Alabama on your schedule rather than a Memphis team.
Unless you're Kermit Davis.
Well, yeah, I didn't want to bring that up, but exactly. But I think even going into the season, if you had your pick of the 2, you'd still take Northern Alabama.
I've got South Carolina State in my notes as that team you always want in December. Of go out and win by 17, play everybody, no threat of losing.
No threat of losing at all. That's a really good one because that's who you want. But and I think you'll see a lot more of that. But credit to Coach Hardaway for going out and getting in these tournaments and
for the fans to make those trips.
Two extremely fun trips.
Certainly not everybody, just mere capacity at those places wouldn't allow everybody. And then that time of year and financial obligations for most of us, but for a lot of people to be able to go on that trip, it's great for fundraising for the university to get on that trip and be moving along in that bracket. And at the parties at night, you can get them to add a zero to the donation check.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And kind of when you look at this field, you already kind of went over it. I mean, you have those big-name teams like Michigan State, UConn, North Carolina, Auburn. Colorado seems to be on the rise. They're doing a lot of really good things with that basketball program. Iowa State has been really good the last couple of years. Dayton is always a pesky team. So, I mean, a loaded field, absolutely. So, I like it. I like the move for the Tigers. I was confused this morning when they announced it because I did not look at the dates. And I was like, wait, they're supposed to be –
there's a lot of tournaments.
Yeah, they're already in one tournament. They can't be in two tournaments this year. So I was a little confused. But last night –
it moves fast. Maui likes to announce the next year's tournament on getaway day at the Final Four for the assembled National Press Corps.
Right. Yeah. Well, and then the other one, the Atlantis one, was announced way early. I mean, that was – couple of years ago was announced. But last night, that win by UConn, I know you have updated your list of teams. So would you like to share what that win for UConn did for them?
We talked about it yesterday, and I hate doing it the morning after and kind of being heat of the moment and the grooviest thing I've ever seen in my life. I don't think I'm doing that. No. But North Carolina 1, Duke 2, Kentucky 3. This is since 1972. I'm not going back to the peach basket. I'm not going back to the beginning of the sport. Just since 72. North Carolina 1, Duke 2, Kentucky 3, UCLA 4, 5, UConn.
And what were they before last night's game? They were
8. That moved KU down a slot from 5 to 6, Indiana down a slot from 6 to 7, and Louisville down a slot from 7 to 8.
And I don't think that's too over the top. I mean, we went over it yesterday, and I think we all kind of agreed it would be right there, either 5 or 6 on the list. I mean, five national championships in the last 25 years is unthinkable.
They're now one of 4 schools to win it with 3 different coaches: North Carolina, Kentucky, Kansas, and UConn.
Wow.
That's the league they've kicked the door down.
Sure have. And still some conversation this morning on if they're really a blue blood. They're 100% a blue blood after what they did last night.
And what about the victory party? Who knew rioting and cars overturned would ensue?
Well, that's up there in the northeast. That's
it.
That's common. I mean, Michigan State, they flip cars all the time.
That's central, north central.
Northeast central-ish.
I mean,
all the same.
To knock a light pole down,
takes a lot.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, there's the light pole that was knocked down in Germantown 3 weeks ago. Hadn't been put up yet. Sound like an old man now.
Were they celebrating a championship when that was knocked down?
No, it was a storm.
Oh, it's just a storm.
No, it was a wreck. It was a car wreck. Car ran into it, knocked it over, still laying on the ground.
Point is not a national championship.
Point is, get it up. I mean, get it out of the street. We got one lane and blocked off.
I got a street light that's been out for months.
Down or just out?
Out. Poles up, poles fine, light doesn't work.
That's even worse.
I've called the mayor's office 3 times about it.
And we're doing old man radio.
Sounds like if Arkansas wins the national championship in something, that'll be the first one to come down. It's not even functioning properly.
Brett.
We can knock it down.
You can knock it down.
That's right. We'll go help you.
I don't want to knock
Shirtless,
it down.
like Eric Musselman.
That's right. Shirtless Eric Musselman made one shining moment last night.
He did. And the
with
Tigers
his shirt
on
off.
Shining moment.
Were the Tigers on one shining moment?
Yeah, it was Elijah McCadden when he tried to just heave one up at the very, very, very end.
Oh, man.
So that was a brief shining moment, huh?
No, I don't know if I'd call it shining. A brief moment.
One moment. But
I didn't catch it.
Do you not stay up for one shining moment?
I did. I just didn't catch it. I mean, it moved fast.
Yeah, it's everyone always complains. It's the yearly thing. Everyone complains how late one shining moment is.
I didn't even see it till this morning, to be quite honest.
And that's the thing. Don't complain about it. You can just watch it in the morning.
Yeah,
Get on Twitter and
nowadays,
watch
in the
it.
advent of technology, you can watch all this stuff at a moment's notice.
Yeah, it's always fun, though. I love a good one shining moment, but I'm not going to complain no matter when it is. Let me set up today's show before we get into top and not top story. At 3:30, we're going to be joined by Colin Cody from Channel 3 Sports Team over at News Channel 3. He used to cover down at Augusta. He used to cover the Masters down at Augusta National. So we're going to talk some Masters with him. We'll also get into the Tigers and the Grizzlies as the Grizzlies have their last home game of the season tonight against Portland. At 3:45, we'll jump back into this conversation about UConn and their national championship victory last night over San Diego State. 4 o'clock, Brent Beard will join us to talk some college basketball and college football from First Coast News down in Jacksonville. 4:30, we'll preview the Grizzlies versus Portland game tonight. At 4:45, we'll do big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Bo Marchant joins us to talk some NFL. We'll have a shorter segment with Bo because at about 5:19, 5:20, we'll get to Taco Bell crunch time so that we can get out of here at 5:30 for Ole Miss at Memphis pregame with the first pitch scheduled for 6 o'clock. But we're sitting in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. The preseason patio and pool sales going on right now. So buy now and save big with the area's largest selection of patio furniture. Pool season, it's just around the corner. Buy now to get ahead of that summertime rush with the early bird pricing. Free layaway and special financing are available, so be ready to enjoy your backyard as soon as spring hits, and mention this ad to get half off both delivery and installation only at Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40.
This hour of our show brought to you every day by the one and only Lexus dealership in town, appropriately Lexus of Memphis, at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-334-9673. Great offers on all the 2023 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis, the only Lexus dealership in town, at 2600 Ridgeway, and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2023 flagship LS500. You'll be looking, you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day is UConn's 76-59 win over San Diego State. The Aztecs came out hot, had a lead. It was, I think, the first 2 minutes that an opposing team has led over UConn. I think before that, the entire tournament, UConn had only trailed for about 30 seconds in the entire tournament. So San Diego State put the pressure on early, but it wasn't enough to stop the powerful UConn offense. A 76-59 victory wraps up the college basketball season, but not really, because what the offseason's turned into with the portal, with recruiting, with everything that goes on, there's no stops. The free agency is exactly what it is. I mean, right now, just since we started the show, Eric Musselman in Arkansas picked up a transfer from Washington who averaged 10 points for the Huskies last year. So it's always moving. We're always going to get new news, and we're going to continue to talk about the guys out in the portal who will think about coming to Memphis, who will come to Memphis. It's all going to be a day-to-day thing. And now with the Maui Invitational, another field that a talented field that the Tigers will be a part of in 2024. I think it was a great, successful college basketball season, but like I said, it's not going to stop today.
And Ricky Council, the news that he's turning pro at Arkansas, won't return next year. And I'm not falling in love with him like I did a year ago with Walker Kessler, but I'm saying that second-round pick for the Grizzlies, I would keep Ricky Council in mind there in a player in this fashion. It didn't work out here for this player. We weren't patient enough. It did other places. A DeMarre Carroll type. I like that, Jay Morgan?
I do like DeMarre Carroll quite a bit. Like you said, he was a very good role player in his own right after he left Memphis.
It just wasn't here. My top story, crown them, UConn's earned it. If they haven't, what do you have to do? Do you have to be like, say, in college football, be Texas with one title in the last 54 years and the gilded treatment that they get? Really? I want somebody to make me a case that UConn's not in the club, that they're not one of the all-time greats, and in the same vein tell me that Texas football, that they are. I really want them to try to do that. And based on what? Certainly not the trophy case, because Texas hadn't done it. You can't deny UConn and then laud Texas in college football. And now Danny Hurley has as many national championships as John Calipari, and one more than the zero, the bagel, that Bob Huggins has. Some of these big reputations, I know they both have done it a longer time period than Danny Hurley. But he's on his way. And already having won one, maybe we need to readjust who some of the totem pole worship is for around college basketball.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day is the Grizzlies have their final home game of the regular season tonight against a limited Portland roster. We talked about everyone who's out for the Trailblazers yesterday, and even a handful of guys questionable. So it's going to be a very limited roster for Portland. But Brett, we've talked a lot about that magic number for the Grizzlies to clinch the second seed. What is the magic number again? What is 4? Is that right?
In reality, it's
4. Okay.
It's 3, but then the tie break.
Right. But tonight, if everything goes right tonight, you could really
lop it in half.
Cut that in half with a Grizzlies win tonight. And then the Kings are in New Orleans for a road game. So if the Grizzlies win, if New Orleans wins, things look really good for the Grizzlies.
It does. We're going to have to do a lot of scoreboard watching tonight. You say limited Portland. Self-imposed limitations.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they all but pulled a UAB football.
Sure did.
And did it themselves. My not top story, Grizzlies at home at FedEx Forum tonight. On the nights, there's plenty to do in the area. Baseball on campus at the University of Memphis between Ole Miss and the Tigers. Baseball downtown for the home opener of AutoZone Park. But at FedEx Forum, the Grizzlies play Portland in a game that any math for any number, 3, 4, whatever number you want to grab out there for Magic for the 2 seed, it's got to be one tonight.
Yep.
And also, I think it's important tonight to put them away quickly and, in effect, have another rest day, some more downtime for that game tonight. When I saw that point spread today, I thought it was the Memphis Tigers over South Carolina State.
What you would see, pretty much.
19.5?
It's incredible.
In an NBA game?
It's insane.
I mean, this isn't Eastern Kentucky playing Kentucky at Rupp, is it?
No. This is the national basketball game with professionals on the court.
But everybody gets paid, right?
Everyone.
Well, everybody gets paid at Kentucky, too.
That's a good point. Good point.
I almost want to take the points out of principle.
I almost want to take,
I take
Memphis out of principle.
I take the points out of principle just when it's double digits. This is almost double digits times 2.
Really?
I mean, I just gotta.
Hey, I like me a 20-something dog in November college basketball.
Yeah.
But a 19-point dog in the NBA in April?
I might have to take Memphis.
I mean, those guys get game checks on the 1st and 15th, don't they?
You want to call me crazy, Jay?
I mean, I'm just wondering why.
I mean, think about it like this.
Because these guys on Portland, they stink.
Vegas knows.
That's
Vegas
right.
knows. So you're going to be sitting there.
Vegas knows.
And when I like what, and Brett hyped me up. If I'm being honest, Brett really hyped me up.
He got you going.
He was talking about, let's get out to an early lead so you can just rest all the guys and it's never in doubt. Got me hyped up. Vegas knows you're going to be sitting there when Memphis is up by 30. You're going to be wishing you were on my side on this one.
Jay Morgan, there was a night last week in the first quarter, Portland scored 14 points.
Ooh. Brett, you keep helping my case.
Yeah, but wasn't that the Grizzlies scored like 13 points in the third quarter of their
I'm not
last game?
I'm not talking about putting that new light pole on Germantown Parkway on it.
But, I mean,
now you're getting Brian really excited. And now you really want him in on the Grizzlies.
What is Portland?
Partly excited.
What is Portland money line tonight?
Oh, plus everything. I don't know.
Plus retirement plan?
That's right.
Just whatever you want it to be. I mean,
no way it'll happen again. Portland already got that win when they couldn't.
Plus 1040.
I might have to take that. I mean, that's just too much.
That means 100 wins you.
100 would win you $1,040.
That's right.
The juice is too much for me. I got to take that.
So you're going to take Portland on the money line?
I might sprinkle on the money line, but I mean, you give me 20 points, I got to take Portland.
I don't know if I'd go 100. I'm not advocating that. Here's what I'm advocating, though. Brett Norsworthy here for FanDuel. Golf's first major is a tradition unlike any other, and now you can bet on who you think will win at Augusta this week, all on FanDuel. Right now, all customers can get bonus bets back if you're Augusta winner, if that pick doesn't win but finishes in the top 10. This is a good this week. A lot of people picking Rory McIlroy. Love John Rahm, defending champ Scotty Scheffler. Is it time finally for Xander Schauffele to break through? I think you can have those names in there to win their first major, also to finish in the top 20 for those names. And I mentioned Adam Scott, the champ from 10 years ago. He could be in there as well. There's no better time to get in on all the action than at FanDuel. The app is easy to use, so many different betting options, and when you win, you get paid instantly. Drive down Magnolia Lane and take a swing at betting the first major. Visit FanDuel.com/sports56 and get bonus bets back if your Augusta winner doesn't win but finishes in the top 10. That's FanDuel.com/sports56. Very important to put that promo code in. And you must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets. They expire 7 days after receipt. Max bonus $25 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Well, I hope nobody had any bets on Manny Machado in this afternoon's baseball game because he just got the hook with adjusting his gloves too long. Got tossed in the bottom of the first. Was adjusting his gloves 8 seconds.
Over
7
glove
seconds.
adjustment?
They cost strike
What if
3.
what
You're
if he
out.
adjusted down low? What does that get you?
I mean, that gets you an automatic ejection. So he's already tossed. So not a great start for San Diego.
Impressionable viewers. You can't be adjusting down below the
right.
ways.
Exactly. This is a
I'm
national
just talking about
television
just
audience.
getting your wristband straight.
Oh, I see.
Well, let's go ahead. Brett was talking about the Masters. Let's go ahead and get to a break. We'll talk about the Masters when we come back with Colin Cody from News Channel 3's Sports Team. That's next on Sports Time.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Are you looking to lease a commercial space for your business? Call Stephen Hoffman. Are you a landlord looking to have your space leased? Call Stephen Hoffman. Maybe you're looking to buy or sell commercial real estate. If so, you want a professional broker looking out for your best interest, and that broker is Stephen Hoffman with Myers Commercial Real Estate. Stephen is a Memphis native who knows his market well and only works the commercial side of real estate. He works for a great firm that has been locally owned and operated in Memphis for almost 40 years. Whether representing tenants, landlords, or investors alike, you are sure to get great market analysis, access to on and off market listings, and a tough negotiator on your behalf. Call 901-761-5595 and ask for Stephen Hoffman. You can also find him on the web at MyersCRE.com. That's MYERSCRE.com. Stephen Hoffman with Myers Commercial Real Estate. Representing your real estate business is his business. Call Stephen Hoffman. 901-761-5595.
Chris Price, it's so good to see you. And you have a new business?
Yes, Dave. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Have you noticed water stains on your ceiling? With storm season here, take a walk around your home or business and look up. Make sure there are no water stains signaling a leak prior to the heavy storms coming in. If you do see signs of water, call me. My team and I will come out, diagnose the problem, and prescribe a fix. Our team of Hague-certified inspectors are waiting to assist with any inspection or repairs you may need. We have 3 crews dedicated to repairing roofs in the Mid-South. As certified Owens Corning and Mule High dealers, we offer 20-year, no-dollar limit labor and material warranties that offer hassle-free ownership. That's our hassle-free ownership guarantee. Allow Metro Builders team of professionals to assist you in maintaining your property's integrity and value. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Your local commercial roof experts. Ask about our commercial roof maintenance agreements. Protect your investment with MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. 375-1717.
People sometimes ask why neither Sunrise location is open for dinner, and the answer is simple. Being the best 2 places in Memphis to get breakfast or lunch served fast and fresh made just for you is a hard enough job without tackling dinner too. The idea of just being open for lunch and dinner is so that people at both Sunrise on Jefferson and Sunrise East on Poplar can concentrate on doing what they do best and doing it better than anybody else. Sunrise is only open for breakfast and lunch because that's the kind of dedication you deserve.
Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis in Olive Branch has an offer you can't refuse. They will pay you to do business with them if you want luxury. And I'm talking the Genesis G70 car. If you would love to have that kind of new technology, they will give you a $1,000 rebate when you finance with Genesis Motor Finance. In other words, they'll pay you $1,000 to do business with them, and you get brand new luxury. You can't beat it. That's Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis, right at the corner of Craft Road and Highway 78 in Olive Branch. Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis in Olive Branch, where customer retention is amazing. There's a reason. They take care of you with a team that's been together for a long time. Whether it's finance or whether it's service, you can't beat them. Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant Dacus, Brett Norsworthy, Jay Morgan Harder with you, and joining us now to talk about the Masters and a little bit of Tigers and Grizzlies. Colin Cody from News Channel 3's part of their sports team. Colin, thanks for joining us. First off, been looking forward to getting you on. Brett's been talking about it for a while. I guess first thing I want to ask you, you've covered a couple of Masters, and we watch it from Memphis here. We watch it every year, but what is it like being there and being able to cover it in person and kind of seeing this event that is just such a legendary event?
Well, first off, thank you guys for having me on. I look forward to, being back in my own city and being able to cover sports here. And like you said, we're going to talk more Grizzlies and Tigers as well. But being on the grounds of Augusta National for 4 years, I have to say when I moved there, I wasn't the biggest golf fan, but I had about maybe a 2-month window to prepare myself for the 2019 Masters. And, if you're learning the game of golf and just so happens Tiger Woods wins potentially his last major, it was a heck of a learning experience. And being on the grounds just for 4 of them, it was an experience that you really can't put into words. Being there for, I would say, 10 or 14 days, for like 2 weeks of coverage with the women's tournament, leading into drive, trip, and putt, then the actual Masters tournament. I mean, from sun up to sundown, we're on the grounds and working pretty hard, but at the same time, you couldn't picture a better office to have for 2 weeks. So yeah, it was amazing.
Colin, Bryant said it so well. We're so glad to have you with us, and so glad to have you back home and in Memphis. Your dad was just a great ball player. I remember him so well with those Chuck Stobart teams for the Tigers, and if they'd have just thrown the ball more in those years instead of kind of ground Chuck, and they only had Steve Matthews, your dad, Isaac Bruce, and Russell Copeland at wide receiver. I mean, my goodness, and pretty good tight ends in those years.
Right, exactly. It's funny being back home. I find myself talking to my dad a lot more about his days as a Tiger. They just keep coming up, either whether I'm talking to you or other former journalists that have covered my dad in the past, and he was like, yeah, I guess he's kind of over being a big deal because, it's Memphis, and he enjoyed his time here, but
it was a big deal.
The fact that,
Colin, he was a big deal. All three, and those three at that time, it goes. I mean, this, everything, life, business, sports. It's all a break or two. I promise you, in those years, I didn't think I thought they all three were the same type, comparable ball players, all great ball players. I didn't think it was a decided edge in any of those three. And, it just catches, you just need a break or two.
Right. And the way my dad, he's explained to me, if they play football how they do now, 25, 30 years ago, then he would had a very long career in the NFL and went on and potentially Pro Bowl and all this stuff. But
no
he says
doubt.
what separates him and Isaac and Russell, he caught every ball that was thrown near him, and Isaac, he was just so smooth coming out of his routes. But I think by looking at the tape, and I have some family bias, I think my dad was the better athlete out of all three.
He was an extraordinary athlete, and they talk about his prowess in some of the pickup basketball games, how he could really get after it in that. But we were talking one night at FedEx Forum about the Masters and your previous job before finally getting you home, and I love watching you anchor on the weekend, and your reporting from Dickies Arena with the Tigers going on that run was just so much fun. And you talk about all the hard work that your Augusta colleagues did, and we know nobody works harder in this market than Jeff Woods. So you're used to that with that. But you told me, I said, what's it like there? And you said, Brett, it's the Super Bowl coming to your town every single year. Imagine a market hosting the Super Bowl every single year.
Wow.
Yeah, it really is incredible. As a news market, you don't really think about Augusta as being high on the map, but as a sports market, that's why I was fortunate enough to spend 4 years there. I mean, we covered Georgia win 2 national championships, South Carolina, Dawn Staley, and that incredible run that they've had, along with Clemson and Dabo. Then Georgia Tech with Josh Pastner at the helm there for a little while. And like I mentioned, the Masters the Augusta Nationals, the gates were 6 minutes from my house. So it's definitely a special place. And it's unique living there because it's sort of like, obviously Augusta's the biggest thing in town, but it's the things that they have around the city that you don't notice until it's Masters Week, whether that's the secret tunnels from the interstate for them to bring in merchandise, which they do multi-million dollars worth of merchandise a day just during this tournament. Whether they're bringing in trees, it's 3 o'clock in the morning on a truck, and it's just a very incredible place to be around, especially 365 days out of the year. You wouldn't imagine the things that go on that people really don't recognize that is catered to just making sure Augusta and the Masters is, the first priority.
Yeah. Well, Colin, you talked about seeing Tiger Woods win the Masters when you got down there, and back again this year. This morning he did a press conference, kind of talked about being back in some of these tournaments after that injury, the car crash that he had, and he talked about kind of it was a small win for him in his mind making the cut last year. But what do you think we should expect from him this year? I mean, should we expect him to make the cut again, or just being out there is kind of a win at this point for Tiger?
Right, I think that's the thing. Tiger, he's mentioned it every tournament that he's played in since that car accident. I know he's done some superhuman feats in his entire career, but I think the win is ultimately just being out there last year and actually see Tiger Woods on the grounds of Augusta and mentally wanting to compete, but his body breaking down there towards the end in the weekend. And I think, that's a treat within itself, the fact that he has his life in his legs and the fact that he still has that passion and that drive to want to be at the top of his game. And I think we're going to get to a point here soon where Tiger has to make some decisions. Obviously, he's playing maybe 1 or 2 tournaments a year, and those are majors at this point. So I don't know how many he has left in him. So just more from an appreciation standpoint, but I think when he's on the grounds of Augusta, he's ready, and he's not just showing up out of shape. He's ready to compete, and ultimately, I don't see anything. I don't think you can ever count out Tiger Woods from winning the Masters. So if he's there, he's in the mind state that he's going to win it, but is his body going to keep up?
Colin, I love that word you used. You could really sense it. You could feel it out there. And when I'm there, Colin, I follow him almost like I'm stalking him. I want to see every move he makes, every practice routine, everything. And I followed him every step Saturday and every step Sunday. And you could see that I think he was a little blown away by. They really love me here. I'm really appreciated, and I think he was. my discernment of it, when he was glad that his children got to see it.
Absolutely. With Charlie, he's going to be the face of golf in the next, I don't know, maybe less than a decade. We know Charlie Woods is going to be a professional golfer. He has the same mannerisms as his dad. So for him to win that and have his children there on the grounds, that was very special and motivating for him. That keeps him probably still in love with the game at this point, because he doesn't have much to prove, and I don't think he's really chasing anything. But I think now it's just the fact that he gives them more of an opportunity to watch him compete at a very high level. And I'm sure that was an incredible moment for that family, especially what was to come just a year and a half later with the pandemic and the accident.
For sure. Our guest is Colin Cody. You see him on the weekends, anchoring on the weekends for Channel 3, and you see him in the reporting role there and doing such a great job back in his hometown after years of working in the Augusta market. And that's why we're talking a lot of Masters with him. We're going to get you back and talk longer about Tigers and Grizzlies, but I want to ask you this. And Colin, I didn't give you a heads up about this, and I'm sorry for that. What's one thing you think they do, how they run that tournament at Augusta National, that the rest of sport could do and do easily, that wouldn't cost a ton of money? I have mine. I want yours. What could, whether it's at the media center or just in the general grounds at Augusta National, what do the Masters poobahs do that the rest of sport could and should emulate?
That's so hard to say because, for one, with that being a tournament that's held in the same location every year, it's kind of hard to say if the NBA did this, and that, or NFL or baseball. So for me, that's really tough because I look at Augusta National. It's like if Chick-fil-A and In-N-Out Burger had a baby, Augusta would probably be like the grandfather. Like honestly, like it's so smooth. It's such a smooth, seamless operation, and it's really unique. So I think that sports could probably take. The media center, that's a huge thing. I think if you keep your coverage and expect the coverage to be at a very peak level and professional level, I think that could change a lot of things and make it easier on your media members because they make it super sufficient for anyone on the grounds there, whether that's, if they don't have the pronunciation sheets right, you got one in 10 minutes. You got all the bio and information that you need on a particular player, and they also, and I think it's a professional thing about the patrons when they're on the grounds of Augusta. Like you've been there, but like you can't skip, you don't really want to yell loud. I think it's just if there were a way to keep sports more reverent when it comes to big events, that would make it a lot more seamless and enjoyable for everybody.
You were right there where I am, and I came back last year and I said every time after I go, and I know the naysayers are going to say, well, it's once a year, anybody can do that. No, really, as you said, now with the drive, chip, and putt and the women's event and this, it's a lot of dates now, much more than just their little invitational tournament that Bobby Jones and Clifford Roberts first started. And mine is this, Colin, just around sports. You mentioned the accessibility for the media. Just really work with people. Here's mine for anybody in anything. Just be nice.
That's all.
That's it. Yeah. Just be nice.
Yeah. It's a very reverent place. It's like a cathedral out there every time you walk out on the grounds. And you got the security people. They hold themselves to a very high standard. And I think when you have from top to bottom, people just kind of respect it and know how to present themselves when they're on the grounds. And what happens outside the gates, that's a different story. I've heard some.
Oh, yeah, then there's the Hooters.
Yeah, then you got John Daly at the Hooters for 14 hours every day. So,
yeah.
So that's one thing. But on the inside of the gates of Augusta, it's a different ball game.
Yeah. Well, Colin, it was a lot of fun chatting with you on the Masters. We're definitely going to have to get you back on to talk some Tigers and Grizzlies as their season's kind of winding down. But a lot of
football
fun.
Talk.
Oh, absolutely. But, yeah, let's do this again, Colin.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me on, and it's been a lot of fun. And like I said, I'm just happy to be home.
Who's your pick this week? Who do you pick at the Masters?
Ooh, all right. So can't rule out Scotty from repeating. Then I'm going Rory and John Rahm because those just seem like really good guys. So
good picks.
They're the big three right now.
Yeah, good picks. Thank you, Colin.
Thanks, Colin.
All right, thank y'all.
So much fun to have Colin Cody back home, the son of Tiger great in the early 90s. Matt Cody, I didn't want to mention because I know it was a heartbreaking day for them, but I was at the game in 93 that Steve Matthews suffered the terrible leg injury against Ole Miss on a cold, great. Well, it really wasn't that cold. It was more overcast than it was cold. It was actually kind of like today, kind of clammy and windswept, and that kind of did in. I think that was Matt Cody's senior year, but Matt Cody was a ball player, and Colin Cody is delivering now for Channel 3 and in this market. And it's glad to get him home. Brian, we're going to have to get him back and talk Tiger football, maybe around the spring game and the Grizzlies, because he works hard here with covering the Grizzlies. At Jason's Deli, all the locations, whether it's Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova, they've captured that Masters magic. Just be nice. Be nice to your customer, because they're that valued, and those 200 area Memphis associates, they do that. Wholesome food forever. It's a family thing at Jason's Deli. The foods are free from dyes, artificials, trans fats, and flavors, processed MSG as well, whether it's to dine in, to go, or delivery. They have you covered. And this week, a lot of friends over, a lot of family in, a lot of get-togethers, wherever you worship, and you're going to need a lot of food for everybody. So get it, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Jason's Deli, they have you covered with all these big portions and all this great food. And in the restaurants, like the salads, the chicken club salad, the big chef salad, the chicken Caesar salad, the soups, the sweet tea. You can get that bulk as well, and you can build your own sandwich and add a one-time trip through the salad bar. Pick out the meat, name your bread, select the spreads, dress it up. You're set. They'll take care of you at Jason's Deli, where it's all about choice. Regardless if you seek a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, you will be delighted at Jason's Deli. Plenty of organic food to choose from, and the salad bar in all the locations, over 30 items to choose from to prepare it however you would like. Catering, anytime, anywhere. This week, trust me, anytime, no order too large. And in these locations like Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova, wrap it up with a complimentary free ice cream. If you're getting ready to go out to FedEx Park for the Tigers and Ole Miss, you got a location near you. Check them out online as well at jasonsdeli.com.
Well, we talked a lot of Masters with Colin Cody from News Channel 3. I just want to remind everyone we'll be giving Masters updates on Thursday and Friday of the tournament. Those Masters updates, you can hear them all day, once an hour here on Sports 56. Those updates are brought to you by Courage Through Cancer. Courage Through Cancer is hosting the Courage 5K on Saturday, May 20th at Shelby Farms Park, benefiting Baptist Cancer Center. Go to www.ctcmemphis.org to sign up. Again, that's www.ctcmemphis.org to sign up for the Courage 5K, which is benefiting the Baptist Cancer Center. Let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we'll get back into the national championship discussion. UConn wins it all, their 5th time. We'll do that on the other side next on Sports Time.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Spring is around the corner. That means the sounds of air conditioners cranking up will be in the air soon. Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. This month only, receive $1,000 off the purchase of a new Carrier AC unit. No gimmicks, just $1,000 off for the Choate's Early Bird Carrier AC Special. If your AC is in good shape, call us to get your $60 20-point AC tune-up to get your AC cleaned and ready for the warm seasons ahead. Choate's is here for all your cooling, heating, plumbing, air duct cleaning, and commercial needs. Call us today at 347-8086 to take advantage of these early bird specials. Or to schedule online, visit ChoatesHVAC.com. So turn to the experts with Choates. And remember, let our family serve your family.
Hi, golfing friends. The 64th year anniversary membership special at Meadowbrook Country Club in West Memphis is here. For only $89 a year with a $10 per year admin fee plus tax, get a 2-year anniversary membership at Meadowbrook and enjoy unlimited golf from Tuesday through Sunday. You must call Meadowbrook Country Club today before this special offer is over. Get your $89 membership today. Just go to golfwestmemphisar.com or call 870-394-4186.
The Showboats are back in Memphis.
We can't wait to have you for the USFL.
Let's go. Ticket prices start at just $10 for their long-awaited homecoming season. April 15th starts a new era of pro football at the Liberty Bowl when the Showboats seek to reclaim their USFL legacy. Bring the whole family and don't miss the Showboats' historic return.
It's a touchdown!
Buy your tickets today at theusfl.com.
Los Cabos is famous for their authentic Mexican food, great steak fajitas, enchilada tacos, and unbelievable seafood freshly flown in from crab legs to shrimp, and Los Cabos handcrafted margaritas. Come watch your favorite game. 4 locations to choose from: Quince, Bartlett, Germantown, and Goodman Road. Take advantage of the Los Cabos Daily Happy Hour specials. Monday and Tuesdays, 2-for-1 margaritas on the rocks from 3 to 7 p.m. Tuesday and Wednesday from 3 to 7 p.m., Margaritas Jumbo, $6.99, Flavored Margarita Jumbo, $7.99, and House Wine, $4. Los Cabos Weekend Special is Jumbo Lime Margaritas, $6.99. Come to Los Cabos, best Mexican sports bar in town. Get a Sports 56 beer and lunch special starting at $7. Daily beer specials, all draft beer, 16-ounce, $2.99. Los Cabos, the best Mexican sports bar in town.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time as we wrap up this 3 o'clock hour. We're jumping back into that UConn game last night, a big win over San Diego State. And we we talked about it a little last week. We didn't really focus on it as much as I think a lot of other people did in terms of the ratings, the viewership. Were people going to tune into a game like this? Yeah. And for you, even though towards the end it was somewhat of a lopsided victory, did that affect how much you enjoyed the game?
Not in the least. I was going to watch every single second, and I had no rooting interest whatsoever. Mm-hmm. I would have been fine if San Diego State had won, and now UConn doing what they've done. And I feel like, unlike Kevin Ollie, who only got one, Hurley, it's not if but when.
Yeah, I think so. The squad he's got right now, depending on what happens this offseason, could bring a lot of them back. And I know right now, betting favorite for next year, I think a lot of people in their way too early. Top 25 has them as number 1. I think we could be seeing a new powerhouse in college basketball forming.
I saw a list today. Guess who this list was? Mr. Next Year himself.
Who's that?
Always next year. The odds-on favorite to win it all?
Kentucky.
John Calipari.
That's right.
If there's ever been a Reggie Jackson was Mr. October, John Calipari's Mr. Next Year.
Mr. Next Year. Well, that's what I saw, I think, either before or middle of the game yesterday. People started putting out the odds for national champion next year, and Duke and Kentucky were the top 2. I think I heard David Cobb this morning on John's show kind of turn that down and say,
You did, and I did as well, and I was cheering him along when David was doing it. Just – how asinine.
Well, and the way college basketball has changed so much, it's so hard to win with young guys nowadays. And so,
nobody had UConn 2 weeks ago.
Not a soul. And won it all. And, you look at their roster, a lot of older guys, and were built for the NCAA tournament. And so, Kentucky's going to have a lot of young guys next year. Duke's going to have a ton of young guys next year. I think 5-6 years ago, that would win it. But this day and age, transfer portal, COVID year still a factor. It's the older teams.
Duke's going to be young next year with a still young head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky's going to be young next year with a head coach that hadn't won it all but once.
That's a good point.
Jay Morgan, give me your 30-second to a minute synopsis on Sanogo and coming out now for the NBA and where he would fit, if he would fit, how good a player.
Man, he's so undersized. I think it would be a certain amount of development. I know I guess Grant Williams kind of started to take off the end of his first year, but that's kind of not necessarily the style of player that he is, although Grant Williams in the NBA isn't even the style of player he was in college, certainly not. But at his size, he's like 6'9", right? That's the size he is.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Could he be a Ben Wallace?
Maybe, but that would be you know what? Maybe so, but I don't think he could be Ben Wallace in terms of what Ben Wallace became in terms of being a starting player. I think a lot of those guys.
Do we want Ben Wallace anymore on a team?
Well, like one of my favorite centers is Dwight Powell. He's 6'9", plays for the Mavs, but he's a great backup center. He is not a starter. You just have to have somebody inside nowadays that can bang, because two of the I'm not even going to say two. All three of the finalists for MVP right now, being Giannis, Jokic, and Joel Embiid, are all big, dominant, physical centers, and you just cannot match up at that size as a starter. So I could see him coming out now being a really good role player and maybe being a prominent player on a good team a la Grant Williams.
Well, I think it's kind of almost a balancing act that you have to do, especially if you're a guy like Adama Sanogo, where obviously the dream is to get to the NBA, but the amount of NIL money that he could make next year by coming back would, I mean, I'm sure top anything
Pretty
he
good
could probably
cash.
get in the NBA, or at least compete for it, certainly. So
it's the Drew Timme dilemma.
Yeah, absolutely. Drew Timme, another one of them. I mean, has a year of eligibility left, could come back. You know the amount of money he would make up at Gonzaga, but just kind of that, are you tired of school? You tired of that whole
ready to move
thing?
the drill.
Ready to move on?
Well, then you got to think they're talking to people, whether it be an agent or a prospective agent or someone in the NBA. They could start to see them take that next step in their player development, a step that they would not be able to take if they stayed in school and taking that NIL money. So it's kind of opportunity cost in a sense.
Final numbers on the NCAA tournament, and I'm sorry, I'd been omitting the Dayton games, that Tuesday and Wednesday game. So now I have that factored in. It still falls out the very same. Favorites ended up winning 34, underdogs 33. The under landed on the under 43 times, and the over hit 24 times. So riding the under would have been fun. Riding favorites, you just paid the man the juice.
Yeah, when you said it day one of the first games that it was going to be a lot of unders, and that was true for the entire tournament, it seems. So
they caught up late after that first weekend. That was really and even the second one. Yeah. But then when it got to Sweet 16 level, after the first 2 days, it was really under, and into that weekend some more. But then the next weekend for Sweet 16 and 8, it caught up. But last night's game, it was fun. That's how it shakes out, and I applaud UConn.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just no trouble anywhere, any stop along the tournament. So absolutely hats off to UConn. But let's go ahead and get to a break, wrap up this hour. When we come back, Brent Beard from First Coast News in Jacksonville will join us, talk a little college basketball and college football. That's on the other side on Sports Time.
Let's say you need a new car, so you go to a dealer, right? Wrong. You need to go to Mount Moriah Auto Sales. Why? Because why limit yourself to just one kind of car when you can choose from all kinds of cars, SUVs, and trucks? All different years, all different makes, all different models. Really good prices, too. Now, everyone says that about the money, but Mount Moriah Auto Sales proves it. They work hard to get you the deal you want, even financing. Plus, they have a huge full-service department to help you take care of your car. So many choices at Mount Moriah Auto Sales. They're almost unlimited, with new vehicles coming in every day. Now, these are really good cars and trucks and SUVs that you'll want to drive. And yes, low miles too. It's so easy. Just go to Mount Moriah Auto Sales, tell them what you want, but keep your eyes open, because you might just find the car of your dreams. Mount Moriah Auto Sales makes it all possible. Go to MountMoriahAutoSales.com. Mount Moriah Auto Sales, right on the corner, right on the price, right on Mount Moriah.
Getaway Sports Bar, the best kept secret in town, open noon to 1:30 a.m. 7 days a week. Garvin, the owner, created this SEC NFL Dream Bar over 20 years ago. You'll never miss a minute of action. 10 TVs, 5 70-inch TVs for all the big games. Rack them up on 6 pool tables. Coldest beer in town, grab you a pool stick and get you some good bar grub. 100% Angus burgers, big and moist chicken tenders. Daily happy hour Monday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. with long neck domestics, $2.25. Getaway Sports Bar, 4632 Winchester.
Chris Price, it's so good to see you. And you have a new business?
Yes, Dave. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Have you noticed water stains on your ceiling? With storm season here, take a walk around your home or business and look up. Make sure there are no water stains signaling a leak prior to the heavy storms coming in. If you do see signs of water, call me. My team and I will come out, diagnose the problem, and prescribe a fix. Our team of Hague-certified inspectors are waiting to assist with any inspection or repairs you may need. We have 3 crews dedicated to repairing roofs in the Mid-South. As certified Owens Corning and Mule High dealers, we offer 20-year, no-dollar limit labor and material warranties that offer hassle-free ownership. That's our hassle-free ownership guarantee. Allow Metro Builders team of professionals to assist you in maintaining your property's integrity and value. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Your local commercial roof experts. Ask about our commercial roof maintenance agreements. Protect your investment with MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. 375-1717.
Looking for a high-efficiency planting solution? The Case IH 2150 Early Riser Planter combines the industry's most accurate planter technologies with a rugged row unit for fast and uniform emergence. The Case IH 2150 Early Riser operates at your speed and adapts to unique field conditions so that you can maximize your yield potential. Stop in or call Mid-South Ag Equipment at 662-890-3141 to learn more. That's Mid-South Ag, your Case IH Equipment headquarters.
Do you want to know what's trending now? You can defer payments of a full NetSuite implementation for 6 months. No payments and no interest for 6 months. This is a big deal. NetSuite by Oracle has never made an offer like this in its 22 years as the leading cloud financial system. 33,000 companies have already upgraded to NetSuite, gaining visibility and control over their financials, inventory, HR, e-commerce, and more. Everything they need to reduce manual processes, boost efficiency, build forecasts, and increase productivity across every department. In fact, almost 90% of finance leaders agree that NetSuite helps them reduce manual data entry time. Whether your business generates millions or hundreds of millions of dollars, take advantage of this special financing offer of no payments or interest for 6 months at netsuite.com/play. That's netsuite.com/play. netsuite.com/play.
Join us for the Memphis Police Department Hiring Expo Saturday, April 8th, 2023 from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 170 North Main Street downtown. We will be taking applications, performing basic testing, and interviewing candidates on site. Free parking located at Poplar Avenue and Front Street. Benefits include a $15,000 sign-on bonus, up to $10,000 in relocation assistance. For more information or details, visit joinmpd.com.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Back in with Sports Time. Bryant Dacus, Brett Norsworthy, Jay Morgan Harder with you. And 4 o'clock on a Tuesday, you know what that means. Brent Beard from First Coast News in Jacksonville joins us now, talk some college basketball and a little college football. Brent, thanks for joining us. What did you think about that national championship game last night? UConn gets its 5th national title.
Well, not a surprise. I was hoping to be a little more competitive. I mean, it was briefly, but then after that, it was kind of a rout, but that still doesn't take away the fact that it was one of the better tournaments that we've had in quite a while. Certainly had a lot of upsets. A few stars were born. Some of the non-Power Fives really made their point. There really is nothing like the tournament. Frankly, in the 3 weeks that you've got it, it is simply tremendous in what it gives us. So all in all, it was a great 3 weeks. I'll be honest with you, I get tired of the commercials after a while. The stuff that we see kind of over and over again. I didn't get tired of Jim Nance. I give him credit.
Brent, already Miss Lily.
Now, I didn't say it at Miss Lily, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, I have no problem missing Lily, but the reality is, Nance handled that well. It wasn't look at me. It wasn't narcissistic. It was kind of quiet and understated, but still, I mean, you've got you give up college basketball and retire from that, and you still got the NFL and golf. That's not bad, is it?
Yeah. I don't think we need to send out a love offering for him.
No. No.
Thank you. And last night he mentioned, and you saw a lot of stories yesterday, that he's 63 and famous for his sweet mates at the University of Houston on the golf team, Blaine McAllister, and more famous with Fred Couples. So today I hear Tiger Woods in his media availability at the Masters talk about playing yesterday. He said, and Fred Couples, 63. Boy, everybody knows how old Couples and Nance are now, don't they?
Oh, yeah, that's pretty funny, yes. It is, the reality of it is, for a guy who's about to turn 65 on Friday, I can appreciate
Happy birthday.
Them still playing and being very active.
Are you going to spend all day on the phone like everybody on the 65th birthday getting on Medicare?
Listen, I have told. It's funny you said that. And I'll be brief about this, but this is a little bit of peek inside the curtain.
Everybody does.
But I actually talked to a Medicare expert Friday after going through a seminar, and she told me, and I told her that I was going to work probably about another 5 years or so, and she said I would not sign up for Social Security and or Medicare until you're ready to go. In the meantime, I would wait. So that was music to my ears, and but that won't keep people from calling me or sending me mailers on Medicare.
Not at all.
I love when I get stuff from AARP, Brent. I mean, it just highlights the trips around the sun. Our guest is Brent Beard. He's with us every Tuesday. With that win last night for UConn, who in the college football world could match UConn with are we in the middle of Georgia moving up all the all-time ranks? Georgia, 3 all-time, 3 in the last 43 years, but 2 in the last 2 and going for the three-peat next year. Could Georgia really move past some of these all-time teams in these next few years in the Kirby era?
Well, if you win 3 in a row, you've got to get people's attention by doing that. Now, the reality is for Georgia, there are 2 things in their favor. One is they've got an incredibly easy schedule. If people haven't seen this yet, that they need to go look at it because the thing's a joke in a lot of ways. Let's just be honest about that. And they've got obviously Florida, Tennessee could give them some problem, but my goodness, guys. And then you've got obviously they got a quarterback, and maybe the Jacksonville kid Carson Beck. But I talked to a Georgia beat writer about this last week, and his point was they've just got so much talent surrounding whoever the quarterback's going to be that it's really not going to matter at that point either. So, but I'll say this: I'm not saying that they'll win 3 in a row, but with the schedule and the talent, I think they certainly would get to Atlanta at least and be able to go from there.
Yeah. When you look at these 2 teams that played last night, I was kind of looking at their rosters earlier today. For UConn, they ran out 8 guys last night. 5 of them were upperclassmen. On the other side, for San Diego State, every single player that saw minutes last night was either a junior or a senior. Do you think that's the way college basketball is moving to? Do you think we're going to start seeing a trend where it's the older teams that are competing for the championships instead of the teams that are full of the 5-star, one-and-done players?
I sure hope so. I think that'd be great as far as the game is concerned. Look, if it was up to me, guys, I would have I'd have the similar rule for basketball as we do for football and baseball, that they would play equivalent of 3 years. I think it's worth it for their maturity and all that goes with it. I get all the arguments about the money and so forth, but that's an astute point. I was these guys have been together. They've been now San Diego State, for instance. They've had 3 years in the weight room, and man, you can tell it. And they've had 3 years together to work on defensive and offensive schemes. And it wasn't a fluke that they got in the national championship game. So yes, I really, really hope that is a trend, and that will be a very positive trend for college basketball.
Brent, 14 years in the books at Kentucky for John Calipari. One championship, and that championship was in 2012. Can you imagine if Nick Saban had only delivered one time in his first 14 years at Tuscaloosa? I'm not saying fire him. I'm saying the opposite of that. I'm just thinking the bubbling discontent, it's there. It has to be there. And I think it's deserved. They signed up for more than one with him, didn't they?
Oh, sure they did. Absolutely. And that's a good point. I mean, any successful football or basketball coach, other than that situation, if they had that track record of, and I don't know if mediocrity is the word necessarily, but there's no doubt. And people thought he'd come there and he would win half a dozen before he retired. But they are nowhere near that at this point, and they have another mediocre year next year. It really does wonder do they sit down at some point and say, Cal, this is not working. We appreciate you and all you've done, but we need to come up with an exit strategy that both of us benefit from, and so we can go in another direction.
But Brent, you lay it out very reasonably, and I'm not trying to be, ugly toward you. But who sits down with him? Because Mitch Barnhart works for him.
Yeah. I mean that. Yeah. I mean, we know the official pecking order, but we also know the realistic pecking order too.
And we know that he knows it also. And I guarantee you, I don't even have to open the text line, and there's a Kentucky fan there. What are you going to say next year if they win it all? I tell you what I'm going to say. About damn time.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Yeah, I get that. That's very true. But look, I mean, it's a look. If you set them down and you talk to them individually, in private, you know good and well that fan base, how hungry they are and what they want. They can't. There's a way in the world they'd be happy with that.
Brent, they would have laughed in our faces. I mean, it would have been, who are you? How are you on? What do you know? If by chance I could have seen the future on the day that he was hired, and I said, after 14 years, you're going to have one title, the same number Joe B. Hall won, the same number Rick Pitino won, and the same number that Tubby Smith won.
Sure. That's amazing, frankly. But look, what you said a few minutes ago about Nick Saban is true. If in the 15 years he's been there, they would have had one, and that would have been basically back in 2009, he wouldn't be there now.
And people and Bama fans would be saying, you got as many as Gene Stallings won.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Yeah, yes. So that's one to watch, and one thing I did, we brought up the point about having older teams. That's one thing I noticed in the during the tournament. that Kentucky has slowly become an older team than what they were a few years ago.
Yeah. Another team I'm curious about, kind of closer to your neck of the woods down in Florida, Florida State. I mean, the past couple of years before this one, they've been one of those teams that has consistently been in or around the top 25, but this year, 9-23 record. Caleb Mills in the transfer portal. I think he has an upcoming visit with Memphis, so that's a guy that a lot of Tiger fans have on their radar. But do you think Leonard Hamilton can turn it around next year, or do you think we're kind of seeing the end of his career down at Florida State?
I hope not, but he's had such a great run, and the way they did it over the years was they had a lot of length. Mm-hmm. They played great defense, and I mean they were just better than most everybody. Now I did a segment early this morning that the host brought up that same point, and I would be curious about this. I'm not saying that it's fact, but his point was Florida State's football is doing well. Mm-hmm. Is it possible that they have got their NIL ducks in a row with football, and they have not done that with baseball? I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I mean, obviously when Mike Martin was there, they were the cream of the crop.
Right.
In the state, that is no longer the case. And his point to me is really giving me pause a little bit with that was, and I'm not saying this is happening, but it's something to think about, is could the lack of success for basketball and for baseball be that they are still trying to figure out the NIL situation with both those sports as they seem to have in football?
I think a lot of people are trying to sort it out and figure it out, but I also think at a lot of places it's a handy excuse. And in college basketball, this time next year, long before this time next year, a month before this time next year, in 11 months, we know Leonard Hamilton can't have another year like that. No. We know that Hubert Davis probably can't have another year like that. No. We know that Kenny Payne probably can't have another year like that. I don't know that Rick Barnes could take a first-round exit next year.
Well, and especially after playing as well as they did this year in getting to the Sweet 16. Now, the question with that is, did that buy him more equity to where if they do have a first-round exit that he would be okay? That's something to consider too.
Do you think it did? Do you think it bought him more?
I don't know that, and I think probably I'm answering my own question by giving you a non-decisive answer, because if I don't know that, maybe that also means that he may not have quite the equity that he would have to have.
I don't think it does, Brent, and I don't think it should. Maybe I don't think it should more than I don't think it does. I don't think it should, because I don't think the year that they had was that special. That's almost opening bid for Tennessee. It is Sweet 16. Certainly long overdue, if not opening bid, long overdue. And I think we're settling too much with a lot of these guys, football and basketball alike, around college sports, and especially in the SEC. And I know most ADs, most administrators are always scared to start over. And I don't blame them. They don't want to write the big payout check. But this is the easiest time ever to start over if you have to start over.
Well, it is. I agree with that, too. So and see, another problem with Tennessee is it's one thing to lose, but when you lose and you're averaging 50 points a game, it's not a good look. And I don't care what sport it is. If you're playing exciting football or basketball and you're scoring 40 to 50 points a game in football and 80 to 100 in basketball, I think that gives you some some equity just being at that point. But boy, when you're doing all you can, and it's a fight in a phone booth every game, like it can be for Tennessee at times, in a tremendous defensive team. But there are a few things that set fans off, like a bad offense and not being able to score points.
Yeah. We talked about Tennessee on the basketball court, but over on the football field, the Vols in the middle of spring practice, their spring game a little later this month, and have to replace Hendon Hooker. It looks like Joe Milton going to be their guy after looking really good in the Orange Bowl, but they don't have a lot of depth at the quarterback position. How confident are you in Joe Milton to kind of keep the tires rolling in that high-power Tennessee offense?
Well, he's got to be. I mean, you can say all you want to about Hooker's athletic ability, but the thing that helped him was he was an accurate passer.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that the guys, and we're going through this with Anthony Richardson here in Florida. Okay, I don't care if you can run faster than anybody else and jump higher than anybody else, and you can throw the ball and hit the roof of the football building.
Yeah.
That's fun stuff. But if you can't throw a 3-yard out on 3rd and 8 for first down, that's a problem. Now Nico Lamaliva, and I may be mispronouncing that. He is the hot shot freshman. He may get a look quicker than anything else. But guys, what they've got to improve on, I believe it more than anything else. And we were at Billy Napier was in town last night, and we got a chance to cover him here in Clay County. And Napier said the same things Tennessee's saying. Is there were times our defense was terrible, and Tennessee. I don't know if I've ever seen a stat like Tennessee had last year, to where they were in the top 10 defensively on 1st and 2nd down, and then in 3rd down they were among the worst, allowing 52% conversion rate on 3rd down to their opponent. Man, you can't do that for very long, and that's something, Brian, I think needs to be fixed quicker than who the quarterback is.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And that's what's scary about the Billy Napier task ahead. You know, it's one thing to have a hole or two. He has holes, plural. He's got a lot to fix.
Yeah. Well, what you're seeing there is he's in the boat, and the water is getting the boat, and there are only so many fingers you can stick in the holes where the water's draining in. Now, here's the thing with them: their schedule's still pretty tough coming into this year. He said when we really needed that first year to get our own players in, and they showed some of them the door. Let's be honest about that. They've had a good recruiting class. The quarterback situation has got to be better than it was last year. And I think with Graham Mertz that's going to happen. But they've got 2 good backs, Montrell Johnson and ETN. They've got a good offensive line, even though they got to replace a lot of those guys. And they don't have a whole lot at receiver, and their defense has got to get better, significantly better too. So to Brad's point, now I mean they're not going to fire him if they have another. Even if it's 6 and 7, but they're certainly not going to be happy, and they've got to start showing some improvement in some different areas. And again, guys, it's one thing you may not be winning, but you need to look good losing.
Right.
And that makes a difference to these teams.
It does, and to their bosses and to the donors.
Yeah.
I don't think any of the coaches at the top of the SEC seniority list, Saban, Stoops, Smart, are in trouble. Then tell me about Fisher, and then when you get and then the next group are all guys hired the same year. They're all in their 4th year. That was the year that Lane Kiffin was hired, Sam Pittman was hired, Eli Drinkwitz was hired, and sadly that was the same year for Mike Leach. So we know Zach Arnett's going to be and should be given plenty of time. But for those 3 4th-year coaches, I'm not putting anybody on utmost blast, but Eli Drinkwitz needs to show something, and the other 2 don't go steeply in the other direction.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. I think the thing with Drinkwitz, again, they're okay. I think they'll be fine at quarterback with Brady Cook. But again, their thing, like these other schools we mentioned, is defense. They just were not very good at all with defense, and they've upgraded their staff. I give them some credit for that. But Arkansas doesn't need, and I give them the benefit of the doubt because the schedule was brutal, particularly with the non-conference schedule that they had. But no, with the Arkansas has got too much talent to continue to be a 7-6 type team. But the thing that is fascinating about the guys that you mentioned is when you're in a conference that's as good as this league is. I mean, is that as good as they can do? Well, with the way the talent's spread around now. Now, for sure, A&M fans aren't going to put up with another, and I'm not saying they're necessarily going to fire him because he went out and got Bob Petrino, and I do think you'll see some improvement there. But those fans aren't going to put up, especially in A&M, with this continuing narrative of 7-5 or 8-4.
No, not at all. But it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, I was watching Michigan's spring game on Saturday. We're about to have a ton of them in the next couple of weeks. Yeah. So it's going to, we're going to start having media days right around the corner. We'll be here before we know it. But, Brent, thanks for joining us. Enjoyed the conversation today. We'll talk to you again next week.
Auburn and Vanderbilt spring games this weekend, and then we've got a plethora of them next weekend, which will be a lot of fun to talk about.
Yeah. Sure will be, and to go to. I'm looking forward to Grove Bowl next Saturday in Oxford. Thank you, Brent. We'll visit about it next week.
Happy Easter to all, and always appreciate it, guys.
Happy Holy Week to you and to all observing, and thank you so much, Brent Beard, a man of deep faith, and celebrating a birthday Friday. That is good. I got to remember to text him on Friday. This weekend, tonight rather, a lot of baseball games. I'm going to really get locked in on NBA and baseball tonight. Brett Norsworthy here for FanDuel, and Grand Slams, no hitters, double plays, they're all back. There's no better place to have fun with the baseball action than at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now new customers can step up to the plate with a no-sweat first bet of $1,000. Go to FanDuel.com, put in promo code Sports56, sign up, place your first bet, and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win. I'm calling it right now. Both of y'all, get your apps ready. Jordan Walker, home run tonight. First big league home run tonight in Busch Stadium. It may not travel as far as Austin Riley's did last night, but you just got to get over the fence. They don't count for any more. Also, Shane Bieber late tonight for the Guardians to go over his strikeout total, and I love the Mariners laying the 180 late tonight against the Angels, the 3-1 Angels. So don't miss your chance to get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel. Go to FanDuel.com, put in promo code Sports56. FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission by FanDuel. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Let's get to a break. When we come back, we'll preview tonight's game between the Grizzlies and the Trailblazers. That's next on Sportstime.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Are you looking to lease a commercial space for your business? Call Stephen Hoffman. Are you a landlord looking to have your space leased? Call Stephen Hoffman. Maybe you're looking to buy or sell commercial real estate. If so, you want a professional broker looking out for your best interest, and that broker is Stephen Hoffman with Myers Commercial Real Estate. Stephen is a Memphis native who knows his market well and only works the commercial side of real estate. He works for a great firm that has been locally owned and operated in Memphis for almost 40 years. Whether representing tenants, landlords, or investors alike, you are sure to get great market analysis, access to on and off market listings, and a tough negotiator on your behalf. Call 901-761-5595 and ask for Stephen Hoffman. You can also find him on the web at MyersCRE.com. That's MyersCRE.com. Stephen Hoffman with Myers Commercial Real Estate. Representing your real estate business is his business. Call Stephen Hoffman, 901-761-5595.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights. Open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
One of the many things that sets Bell Tavern apart from other bars in Memphis, aside from its great location downtown, its comfortable atmosphere, its high-def TVs always tuned to sports, is the list of signature cocktails available at Bell Tavern. Treating yourself to a 3-whiskey old-fashioned or a barrel-aged Manhattan or a tangy little Lily makes you feel like a real-life grown-up. You can sip your alleyway anthem or Capri Daydream, and you can remember what it was like when every bar was a great bar, instead of just Bell Tavern.
Let's say you need a new car, so you go to a dealer, right? Wrong. You need to go to Mount Moriah Auto Sales. Why? Because why limit yourself to just one kind of car when you can choose from all kinds of cars, SUVs, and trucks? All different years, all different makes, all different models. Really good prices, too. Now, everyone says that about the money, but Mount Moriah Auto Sales proves it. They work hard to get you the deal you want, even financing. Plus, they have a huge full-service department to help you take care of your car. So many choices at Mount Moriah Auto Sales. They're almost unlimited, with new vehicles coming in every day. Now, these are really good cars and trucks and SUVs that you'll want to drive. And yes, low miles too. It's so easy. Just go to Mount Moriah Auto Sales, tell them what you want, but keep your eyes open because you might just find the car of your dreams. Mount Moriah Auto Sales makes it all possible. Go to MountMoriahAutoSales.com. Mount Moriah Auto Sales, right on the corner, right on the price, right on Mount Moriah. Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Brian Dacus, Brett Norsworthy, Jay Morgan Harder with you. And the Grizzlies, they'll play their final regular season game inside FedEx Forum tonight against the Trailblazers team that has given up on the season, and that is reflected in their injury report for tonight's game.
You want to go over that mass unit?
I will.
We have time?
I will. If you want me
I know
to.
we got a short show today.
I mean, it's a
is
lengthy
it time
one.
sensitive?
It might be. It's a long list.
They are a MASH unit. That's right. Brian, you know what a MASH unit is?
A MASH unit?
Yeah, you know what a MASH unit is?
I know the show MASH.
Well, that's a MASH unit.
Oh, perfect. Great show.
I don't know what the acronym stands for, though. I don't. I would say M is medical.
Yeah, got to be. But I don't know.
H has to be hospital.
Mobile Army Surgical Hospital.
Well, I was 1 out of 4.
One out of
was
4.
not medical.
Yeah, well,
okay.
You win some, you lose some, Brett.
And I was not a MASH fan. I don't know that I ever watched a second of it.
My dad watches MASH probably more than any other show.
It's a great show. I wonder if Alan Alda's playing for the Trailblazers tonight.
Honestly,
appearing as Alan Alda.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
I mean, you're going to see some names playing
Alan
tonight
Alda.
you've never heard.
I think Alan Alda played in a sports movie. Now that you say it, I think he was in Paper Line.
Really?
What's Paper Line now?
The book of a sports writer, and why is it not coming to me? That trained with the Detroit Lions 1 year.
Really interesting.
Mm-hmm. And Alex Karras tried to kill him.
Interesting. Even more interesting.
George Plimpton. It came to me.
Oh, George Plimpton was okay. I've actually heard of George Plimpton.
He was the author of the book, and then I think Alan Alda portrayed him in the movie. about the lines.
I'm looking up the probable starters tonight for the Blazers.
Well, I was just looking at their injury. It looks like almost all of the stars, if not all of them, are out tonight.
Yeah, the probable starters for tonight are Skylar Mays of LSU fame. I was roommates with his brother at Texas Tech.
Really?
Shaedon Sharp, who's played really well as of late. Matisse Thybulle is a game-time decision. Trenton Watford is a game-time decision, Birmingham fame. And Drew Eubanks, who's played a lot of meaningful minutes for them this year. He is projected to start tonight as well for Portland. So, not the traditional guys, but still a very good team that's been playing well in their own right. Kevin Knox is a game-time decision.
So is Cam Reddish.
Cam Reddish as well. So, it might not be the traditional guys you're used to seeing, but I think Portland
They're pros too.
Yeah, exactly right. They you really cannot underestimate guys that are getting their shot, how hard they play.
Yeah.
Generally, that's not a problem for the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies, one of the reasons why they have had such a good record the last 2 years is because they do play hard every night in that regard, regardless of who's out on the floor. But you can't look past teams that play hard when they're getting their opportunity.
But look around the league tonight at some of these point spreads, 14.5, 13.5, 14, 17.5 now for the Grizzlies. So down a smidge. The Lakers 10 on the road in Salt Lake City.
Ooh. That's been a trend I've noticed, the point spreads going up the last few weeks, obviously exponentially rising due to teams that are sitting guys out at this point. But still, I haven't really, in the small amount I've been able to track, it seems like the point spreads have been too large down the stretch of the season.
Jay, does
Same.
17.5 sway you any?
Not at all. I mean, like I said earlier, 10 to me is way too many points in the NBA. Just like Brett said, they're pros too.
Yeah.
And that truly is. I don't always like when I hear people say, like, well, someone's got to score. Well, it's not that someone, like, if the three of us were out there, I'm not sure we would be able to score.
I would.
Bryant would be able to.
Well, you would. I don't know if I could set a screen in the Rendezvous Rib score like when they played pickup games at FedEx Forum during the Grizzlies games. The Suns are 19-point favorites tonight over the Spurs. I heard this morning. I want to ask y'all what y'all think of it. And I like him a lot. Brian Windhorst said the seed that people are jockeying for the most in the West is the 6. And the reason why nobody's that scared of Sacramento, and then it puts you opposite Denver and Golden State for potential. You wouldn't run into them until Western Conference Finals.
That's
Denver and Phoenix. I'm sorry, Denver and
Phoenix, right?
That's fascinating to me in that regard. And two teams you definitely don't want to run into. Denver's been the best team in the West all year. Phoenix obviously gets exponentially better with the addition of Kevin Durant. As good as they are. As good as that's right. As good as they already were. That's fascinating. That's very interesting to see teams jockeying for that position, especially with how close teams that are even in the play-in are right now. Obviously, the Mavericks one step outside of that, but everyone's so close.
But if you get too cute, too much jockeying, you could look up and be in the 9-10 game.
Oh, absolutely.
Or 9-10 spot.
Yeah.
Which you certainly don't want because you have to play that entire time while other teams are resting in that regard. Luckily, I don't know about luckily, you start on the road, and we all know when you get to the playoffs, series don't start till a team loses at home. So you get 2 games off in that regard. But you just
I love that saying. Boy, and it'll get broken out over the next 2 months a bunch.
It sure will. But, yeah, you're right. I mean, I think there should be a lot of jockeying around the 6. I mean, like you said, it keeps you outside of playing the Nuggets and the Suns, but it also keeps you outside of that play-in game, so you have a little bit of rest going into the playoffs. You don't have to play in that play-in game. But, I mean, a lot of good teams. Jay, you've been all over the Lakers this season. They're sitting in the 7th seed right now. Do they scare you as much today as they did 2 months ago whenever you were waving the flag for them?
I would say more so now because that was before the trade deadline.
Great take by you, Jay Morgan. I'm not kidding you. When we got together late January, I think that was one of the first takes you had is look out for the Lakers. The old look out, be scared of. And you did. You stuck by it even through the LeBron injury.
I can't take credit for it, though, because I think over time while we talked about it, I've showed my love for pretty much 1 through 15 in both.
You love every team.
Both the East and the West.
There's like my go-to play at AutoZone Park, Bryant. Tell everybody they're going to be a big league manager someday.
You're going to be a skip one day, you know.
You'll be a great big league man. No, but great.
Great. That's right. Not just a regular manager, a great Big week manager.
Like for Skip Schumacher.
Big difference.
It skipped the skip.
That's right. And he's on his way. Right, Jay?
So Brian Windhorst's comments, he by name, and he didn't do it disrespectfully. He didn't do it ugly at all, calling out Sacramento. I don't think Sacramento can post bulletin board material built on Wendy's comments. But in effect, didn't he also kind of tacitly say the 2 seed they're not that scared of either?
Yeah, I mean, when you
know who that is.
That's the Grizzlies right now.
But how could you, if you're making an argument, and the Grizzlies are very good. Well, I think I would not be surprised if the Grizzlies go to the Western Conference Finals or if they lose in the first round. That's how close the Western Conference is. But if you're looking for matchups, I mean, the Grizzlies are 15-23 on the road. They just lost to the Bulls on the road. Those are, in your mind, wins at home, almost automatic wins at home. You just have to steal one on the road in that regard. And if I'm looking at playoff matchups, that's a team I'm looking at, certainly.
If it was the playoffs today and the Grizzlies were the 2 and they open, let's say the Lakers got into the 7th spot, I think they would beat the Lakers, and it would be about a 4-2 thing. It wouldn't be easy. It'd be fun. And then either get Sacramento if they stayed to 3 or Golden State. Either one of those, fine, for a lot of reasons. Never met Sacramento in the playoffs since being in Memphis, and it speaks for itself with Golden State. I think they win both of those series. I think they would go to the Western Conference Finals if the playoffs fell out like they are today. And the chance to play the Lakers in the first round, Sacramento potentially in the second round, and then in a Western Conference Finals get Denver, that would be all 3 playoff opponents against teams the Grizzlies have never played in the playoffs while in Memphis.
Interesting.
I like that. New blood.
New blood. A lot of fun.
The reason why the Warriors give me a little more cause for concern, and I know I just mentioned the road record. Cause for pause. There you go. Because the Grizzlies, the Bears have pause. The Grizzlies, their road record being 15-23, you could look at the Warriors and also say, well, those are wins that you can get at home because the Warriors are 9-30 on the road. However, they are making a huge addition with Andrew Wiggins coming up here. I mean, that changes their team chemistry and outlook and the way they play significantly. Andrew Wiggins, a huge factor in their playoff run last year, too. So that would be my defense for the Warriors in that regard. And the same token, though, the Grizzlies are adding Steven Adams presumably this week or next. So that changes them a lot as well.
When you talk about those road woes for the Grizzlies, I'm looking, at all the teams in the West, and outside of the Warriors, who are 9 wins on the road, the only other 2 teams that have 15 or less road wins is the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are in 10th place, and then the New Orleans Pelicans, who are also in the play-in.
The Pelicans, another team like the Warriors, who the makeup of their team changes dramatically.
They've dealt with injuries all season.
Yeah. So you add Zion back. Obviously, Brandon Ingram's playing really well. It changes dramatically once you get to the playoffs.
It's going to be interesting to see kind of how it all shapes up.
I'm excited, man.
We're in the fast lane right now. I mean, we're going to have a lot of games over the next couple of days that really determines
even tonight shapes some things, and every passing day, because we just don't have many days left, counting down to the end of the year. And tonight, with the Grizzlies win, I think it's worth a lot. Back-to-back 50-win seasons.
Oh, 100%, absolutely.
That speaks for itself. It speaks well of this franchise and really the accomplishment. And we all were scared that a lot of things were in jeopardy there a few weeks ago.
Yeah. So it'll be fun, a fun stretch to the end, but it's gonna be a fun week. I want to remind you, Masters coming up this weekend, Thursday and Friday. We'll have Masters updates all day at once an hour on Sports 56. Those Master updates brought to you by Courage Through Cancer. Courage Through Cancer is hosting the Courage 5K on Saturday, May 20th at Shelby Farms Park, benefiting Baptist Cancer Center. Go to www.ctcmemphis.org to sign up now for the Courage 5K, again at Shelby Farms Park, benefiting the Baptist Cancer Center.
Outstanding people, and thank them so much for our Masters updates this week that we'll get to Thursday and Friday, and for what they do in our community. In our community tonight, I know so many fun things going on. You got your choice out there, some really good options. You got your options of a lot of great places to eat, a lot of great barbecue places that we're famous for. And I know of 2 great places you can hit. They're really close to about anything you want to do tonight. And that's the new Collierville Commissary at Houston Levy and Poplar, or the original in Germantown, perfect for large groups. Perfect when we get into these game-watching parties, even if we know some of those late-night Western Conference tips might be like $8.50 or so. We still can have a lot of fun at the new Collierville Commissary at Houston Levy and Poplar, or the original in Germantown, the Memphis-style barbecue we've come to know and love and appreciate so much, what Walker Taylor has built over this 40-plus years with the Memphis way, the slow-cooked way. Craving an easier way to order, you can do it right now. Text commissary to 33733, and through that you can have all the great stuff, all the appetizers like the tamales or the cheese plate, the smoked chicken wings, and the Memphis staple, the sports staple, invented in the early 80s at the Germantown Commissary, the barbecue nachos. Then dig into the ribs or barbecue sandwich, shoulder, chopped, pulled, big sandwich if you'd like it, with all the sides like deviled eggs, slaw, beans, bread as well. You can even order it by the pound, or a 6-pack or an 8-pack or a 12-pack. And this week, during holidays this weekend, the holiday hams, they have them just like during the holiday season, during the fall, the Christmas season. The place to start your holiday food shopping, it's at the commissary, the new Collierville Commissary at Houston Levy and Poplar, or the original in Germantown. Here's the number to get on the list, 901-754-5540, or go online at commissarybbq.com. In Collierville and Germantown, the great party areas, order to go, catering, the desserts, the whole pies, the whole cakes for the weekend ahead, like the lemon icebox pie, the strawberry cake, the banana pudding. Here's the number again, 901-754-5540, or online at commissarybbq.com.
Let's get to a break. When we come back, it will be time for Big Number of the Day.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app, or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Hi, golfing friends. The 64th year anniversary membership special at Meadowbrook Country Club in West Memphis is here. For only $89 a year with a $10 per year admin fee plus tax, get a 2-year anniversary membership at Meadowbrook and enjoy unlimited golf from Tuesday through Sunday. You must call Meadowbrook Country Club today before this special offer is over. Get your $89 membership today. Just go to golfwestmemphisar.com or call 870-394-4186.
Do you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes? Good news. There's a new way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative. Call U.S. Tax Shield, A+ rated with the BBB. 800-391-5063 for your free consultation, and let U.S. Tax Shield protect you from the IRS.
Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis in Olive Branch has an offer you can't refuse. They will pay you to do business with them if you want luxury. And I'm talking the Genesis G70 car. If you would love to have that kind of new technology, they will give you a $1,000 rebate when you finance with Genesis Motor Finance. In other words, they'll pay you $1,000 to do business with them, and you get brand new luxury. You can't beat it. That's Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis, right at the corner of Craft Road and Highway 78 in Olive Branch. Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis in Olive Branch, where customer retention is amazing. There's a reason. They take care of you with a team that's been together for a long time. Whether it's finance or whether it's service, you can't beat them. Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis.
Los Cabos is famous for their authentic Mexican food, great steak fajitas, enchilada tacos, and unbelievable seafood freshly flown in from crab legs to shrimp, and Los Cabos handcrafted margaritas. Come watch your favorite game. 4 locations to choose from: Quince, Bartlett, Germantown, and Goodman Road. Take advantage of the Los Cabos Daily Happy Hour specials. Monday and Tuesdays, 2-for-1 margaritas on the rocks from 3 to 7 p.m. Tuesday and Wednesday from 3 to 7 p.m., Margaritas Jumbo, $6.99. Flavored Margarita Jumbo, $7.99. And house wine, $4. Los Cabos Weekend Special is Jumbo Lime Margaritas, $6.99. Come to Los Cabos, best Mexican sports bar in town. Get a Sports 56 beer and lunch special starting at $7. Daily beer specials, all draft beer, 16-ounce, $2.99. Los Cabos, the best Mexican sports bar in town.
Chris Price, it's so good to see you. And you have a new business?
Yes, Dave. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Have you noticed water stains on your ceiling? With storm season here, take a walk around your home or business and look up. Make sure there are no water stains signaling a leak prior to the heavy storms coming in. If you do see signs of water, call me. My team and I will come out, diagnose the problem, and prescribe a fix. Our team of Hague-certified inspectors are waiting to assist with any inspection or repairs you may need. We have 3 crews dedicated to repairing roofs in the Mid-South. As certified Owens Corning and Mule High dealers, we offer 20-year, no-dollar limit labor and material warranties that offer hassle-free ownership. That's our hassle-free ownership guarantee. Allow Metro Builders team of professionals to assist you in maintaining your property's integrity and value. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Your local commercial roof experts. Ask about our commercial roof maintenance agreements. Protect your investment with MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. 375-1717.
Join us for the Memphis Police Department Hiring Expo Saturday, April 8th, 2023 from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 170 North Main Street downtown. We will be taking applications, performing basic testing, and interviewing candidates on site. Free parking located at Poplar Avenue and Front Street. Benefits include a $15,000 sign-on bonus, up to $10,000 in relocation assistance. For more information or details, visit joinmpd.com.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand.
It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
So my big number of the day today is 9. Last night, the Padres walked it off with a home run from Ha-Seong Kim to end the game last night against the D-backs. They're also playing right now. San Diego has a 5-1 lead. But Ha-Seong Kim, in that game, hitting the walk-off, became the 9th player in Padres history to hit a walk-off home run from the 9th spot in the order. And he's the first to do it as the starting number 9 hitter.
Interesting.
Barry, Jay Morgan, you go next because we could have a group lock on big numbers.
Uh-oh.
I'm afraid we don't. I also heard last night Ha-Seong Kim put his first the H and the Y on the back of his uniform because Kim is such a common last name where he's from that he had to do that to distinguish himself. I thought that was fascinating as well. You guys talked about Adama Sanogo earlier. I guess we all have been. My big number is 2. Adama Sanogo is the second player in the last 25 years to have 3 straight double-doubles to cap off a national championship run. The other, Carmelo Anthony.
Wow.
Maybe a very good omen. Brett, you were talking about his NBA prowess.
Might be.
Could be a very good omen for the young man.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll play as long as Carmelo Anthony did, but that's good company to be in, and he's now the 5th MOP for Connecticut, and I don't even think they had to hand out the ballots, and TV had it before they got in to postgame. My big number is 9 as well, Bryant, but a little different. This will be the 9th time for Rory McIlroy going for the career slam. And the career slam, all he lacks is to win a green jacket. And this is the 9th time that he'll be trying for that. He's overwhelming, I think, sentimental and betting favorite.
Yeah.
It would be a very popular winner. I touched on it yesterday. If we can fall in love with Sergio Garcia and Patrick Reed, that outpouring for him, especially, however he wins, if it was in Cruz, whether he could, just have the victory lap down 17 and 18, or win it in thrilling style, maybe even a playoff as they play 10 and 18. No longer get to 11 where Larry Mize, who will be playing in his last Masters, chipped in on Greg Norman in 87. They don't do that anymore. They play it in a 10-18 loop. So they don't get down there at 11. There's a lot of reasons why. Some of the TV cameras have been shut down for a while after they've all gone through. And it is, I know this sounds crazy, but it really is. That's the lowest part of the golf course where Amen Corner, where it is, and it's darker. It is. There's not as much light because, it's not the clubhouse lights and even, the cabins along 10 lighting. So it's much darker down at 11. And thank goodness Larry Mize chipped in. I swear, with as hated as Greg Norman is, CBS could run the 96 rerun of him choking to Nick Faldo, and I think people would be cheering along just like a lot of us were in 96.
You mentioned Patrick Reed, people cheer against, too. I think that's my most embarrassing fandom, is I actually genuinely like Patrick Reed. It has to be because of the Ryder Cup. Yeah. When he's pumping up the crowd, that was one of the coolest golf moments I've ever seen.
Well, good point. I mean, he goes chief villain to Captain America.
He was Captain. They called him Captain America, and he was the biggest villain. Isn't that crazy? Like literally polar opposites in that regard of being the biggest villain. Brett, you talked about golf. Brian, yours was on baseball. Mine was on basketball. We almost have all the sports covered that are playing right now except one.
Hockey. Do you have one?
I have to give you a hockey.
Also, soccer, you're wearing an MLS sweatshirt.
Soccer, you're right.
I thought you were bringing us XFL.
I have. Man, I forgot football, too.
So really, we don't.
I'm going to give us a hockey big number as well,
Please.
a bonus big number, and it's about the jersey, the sweater, quote-unquote,
I got it on.
You're wearing, Brian. Seattle Kraken. My second big number is 8. The Seattle Kraken are the first NHL team to score 8+ goals in a game 5 times in a season since the Penguins did it 10 times in 95-96.
I didn't even know that.
Well, when I saw that's a courtesy of OptaStats. When I saw that stat today about the Seattle Kraken, I was like, "Oh, Brian's gonna love
what
this
a win
one.
last night for the boys. Back at it tonight.
I didn't know they
Stanley Cup playoffs start 2 weeks from yesterday.
Yes.
So on Monday, April 17th, drop the gloves, make the picks.
I can't wait.
We've got series coming up in hockey, series in basketball. I mean, we've got a lot of picks to make.
I'm staying with my preseason pick, Toronto to win it all.
You did that last year.
It's a good one.
Year. It's like Cardinals and Yankees.
Like Cardinals and Yankees.
I picked Toronto every year to get off that ugly schneid since '67.
Wow.
Our Canadian fan base has got to love you, Brett. I mean, they are loving you.
I love you back, Canada.
That's right.
Oh,
you
Canada.
ever met a Canadian you didn't like?
No, they're all very polite.
Don't think I've ever met a Canadian.
people ever.
My mom is from Minneapolis. That's as close as I've ever been.
Enough?
As close as you get to Canada. Very similar accents.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
I don't think I've ever met a Canadian. I don't know if I want to meet a Canadian.
Whoa!
Oh yeah, all the people in the Grizzlies front office, kind of back offices, they all came
really?
south with.
With Vancouver. Interesting.
Great people.
Yeah, I hear the Canadians are nice. Great maple syrup. So
great maple syrup.
Well, who knows? Maybe I should meet more Canadians.
And all the police officers wear the hats, the brown brim hats in that regard.
That's great. Well, I'm sure people love our Canadian talk right now.
Y'all didn't stereotype at all with the maple syrup and the hat thing. Not at all.
Unfortunately, we did.
Is that not how Canada actually is, Brett? Huh.
I don't know. I've never been.
Never been. Maybe we should take a group trip up there.
Let's do.
Everyone's playing hockey,
Yeah, out on the pond.
Out on the pond.
Yeah, that's all they do.
Maple syrup.
Moose just walking around
That's
everywhere.
Right.
Well, we need to get to a break. When we come back to start the 5 o'clock hour, Bo Marchant will join us to talk some NFL. We'll have a shorter segment with Bo because we got to get out early at about 5:30 for pregame between the Ole Miss Rebels and the Memphis Tigers. But we'll talk to Bo and about some NFL on the other side. That's next on Sports Time.
Call the pros at Conway Services and save up to $1,000 on select new energy-efficient HVAC systems. Plus, receive a free whole home air purification system. Request your free consultation or second opinion today. Call 384-3511 to schedule your appointment. Visit conwayservices.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 64210, 64365 EAS, MS 1968.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching your kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, trunk lids, license plate holders, and headlights. They've got lots of headlights. When you need parts, get it right the first time with eBay Guaranteed Fit. When you see the check, you know that part's going to fit. eBay Motors. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
I know you're thinking about pools and patios right now. Don't deny it. They're on your mind. So it's a good thing that Family Leisure is having their preseason patio and pool sale. It's like they're mind readers. You can buy now and save big with the area's largest selection of patio furniture. You want free layaway? Done. You want special financing? Done. You want to be ready to enjoy your backyard just as soon as spring hits? Family Leisure has you covered. Patio and pool season's not that far away. So now's the time to take advantage of this fantastic early bird pricing special. Now here comes the really special part. If you mention this commercial, you get half off delivery and installation. I'll let that sink in for a second. You heard me right, my friends. You mentioned this very commercial, and Family Leisure will give you half off delivery and installation. The preseason patio and pool sale is happening now at Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Hi, everyone. Greg Gaston for FanDuel. Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique fun bet types like same-game parlay, and exclusive always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boosts on the biggest events to let you get more action out of every game day. And if you win, they even get you your winnings safely in as little as 24 hours. If you've never tried FanDuel Sportsbook, what are you waiting for? Just go to FanDuel.com, use Gas Manager promo code to get in on the action. All in an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Just go to FanDuel.com, again, use Gas Manager promo code to join now or sign into your FanDuel Sportsbook account. Must be 21 or over, present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit is required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline at 1-800-889-9789.
Jason Bottom's Led Zeppelin Evening. Live. An unforgettable evening of Led Zeppelin's greatest hits and deepest cuts. May 18th at Graceland Live. Tickets on sale Wednesday, 10 a.m. at GracelandLive.com. Jason Bottom's Led Zeppelin Evening.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant Dacus, Brett Norsworthy, Jay Morgan Harder with you as we wrap up the last 30 minutes of our show today. We're out early for Ole Miss baseball versus the Memphis Tigers tonight. But before we get to the baseball game, Bo Marchant joining us now to talk some NFL from collegetopro.com and Sports Illustrated. Bo, thanks for joining us. The offseason continues to roll on and on. I saw a report earlier today about the Patriots. Looks like Bill Belichick has kind of been in talks about trying to move Mac Jones. What's kind of happened with that relationship between Mac Jones and Bill Belichick?
Well, I think the first thing is Mac Jones really never developed.
Right.
Last year, he made mistakes in critical moments, and I think the Patriot way is the absolute bare minimum thing you cannot do is make critical mistakes at critical times. I think that's kind of the backlash, and the new reports came out where he was, they butted heads in terms of, the offensive philosophy last season and things of that nature. I just think it's not Mac Jones performing at a level that was expected, and then you have Bailey Zappa, who's, I think as an observer, I thought he outplayed Jones. The ball seemed like it moved more fluently when he was at the helm of the offense. So I think a lot of it just comes down to Mac Jones not living up to that first-round selection and him kind of taking a step back, if you will. So, there's a lot to play into it. And Bill Belichick, as you know, is a masterful poker player when it comes to, not giving us anything to play on. So, there's probably a lot to this that we'll never know.
Bo, that's a great answer. So many layers to this. For one thing, I love Mac Jones. Loved him at Bama and loved that rookie year with the Patriots. But I got to give him a B for bravado. Man, you're butting heads with Bill Belichick.
Yeah, I mean, and that is, when I read that report, it was kind of striking that, you're like, wow, this kid is, saying, hey, you know what, that's great, you're Bill Belichick and all, but,
Seriously?
I don't think it's...
Stick with me, Bill. We'll go a long way together.
But for Jones, I think it's the thing where I took it as he wanted to learn more. He wasn't getting what he was, he wasn't being taught what he thought he needed to be taught, or he wasn't understanding it the way you're teaching it.
Right.
I just looked at it as the way is, hey, I'm kind of trying to study on my own because I'm really not getting this class. I need a little tutor on the side. I don't think it's anything to be offensive about, but again, it's Belichick, and again, I just think it goes back to the play of Jones, and he really kind of, I thought, took a step back. I think he's kind of starting to trend. I wouldn't even put him on par with Andy Dalton. I think Andy Dalton has outplayed him early. In Andy Dalton's career at this same point, Andy Dalton outplayed him significantly better. And I think at his height, I think he might be able to be an Andy Dalton, but I don't even think he's at that point yet.
But the football morgue is full of people thinking I can butt heads with Bill Belichick that lost.
Yeah, well, maybe he wants out of New England.
Ask Drew Bledsoe.
That's the best way to
really,
do it. So.
Ask Brady.
Yeah,
ask Ty Law. Ask Richard Seymour.
Yeah, it's not the way to go.
Logan Mankins. I mean,
all of them.
All
and you remember during their heyday, I mean, if money wasn't going to be a problem with you, we'll find a solution. I mean, how many times on this show did we talk about Tom Brady being upset that they cut an offensive lineman or they cut somebody else?
Cold-blooded.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what you meant, your tenure, how important you were. If he could find a solution at a cheaper cost, or there was some sort of integral thing that set things apart, you were gonzo.
That's right.
I think Belichick, he does not care. I know it feels like he does not care in the now. I don't think he's that worried at reunion parties in a few years from now if they like him.
I don't think he cares if anybody likes him, to be truthful, Fred. I mean, he's one of those individuals. He has we joke about Aaron Rodgers' inner circle. I think the inner circle of Bill Belichick. Aaron Rodgers is kind of like a police department. I mean, Belichick's like the highest level of CIA intelligence and stuff. It's on another level. I think if you're going to leak or get into his inner circle and kind of disturb it. I mean, he's him. It's funny is I always watch 30 for 30s, and I was going to rewatch the Bill and Parcells and Bill versus Bill or whatever it was called. Just because even in that setting
so good.
Amongst each other, they're still so. It's just an elephant in the room. It's just uncomfortable. It's just
you could feel the tension.
You can. It's just, and I think he's comfortable with you feeling uncomfortable. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And that's the fight to death. Tuna and Belichick, they don't mind bringing the tension, and they're not worried about it.
No, they're not. And lo and behold, I mean, them sitting in the room together, and it's just boy.
This ain't David Shula.
I didn't think we were going to get that on today.
I didn't either. I tried hard.
Never put it past Brett, that's for sure. But, Bo, I feel like every week we talk about Aaron Rodgers. Still no decision has been made yet between the two sides on a trade. Are you surprised that we're still kind of waiting? And then what did you make of earlier today, the reports coming out that the 49ers interested in kind of jumping in there if things fall apart with the Jets?
Yeah, I wouldn't put any stock into that. I think them just kind of trying to somehow disturb what the Packers are trying to do with Rodgers. Yeah. I mean, one, the money itself, and then when you have you have the quarterbacks they already have on the roster. I don't think, and if they would have done this, they would have made a harder play on Tom Brady, or they'd be calling Tom Brady right now and saying, "Tom, here, why would you even go the distance with Aaron Rodgers if you just give Tom Brady a call and say, hey, Tom, this is where you're from. You grew up loving Joe Montana. Do you want to come to the helm and rock this thing out for one more year?" So if that hasn't happened, I wouldn't put much stock into it, to be honest with you. I just think that's kind of rumor mill stuff. I don't know anything about the Aaron Rodgers situation that in terms of it's a wait and see. I think we all feel 100%, or at least 99.9%. It's
Right.
going to get done. It's just a matter of time. If I was the Jets, I would prefer to get it done. I guess I could say the same thing with the Packers, but just to know where I stand, and you don't want the draft to roll around and maybe you come up empty-handed, vice versa. I think that's where the Jets kind of get, it could hurt the Jets more. The draft comes and goes, they don't have an opportunity, then you kind of lose that leverage. Maybe that's why Green Bay's waiting as well. So it's something they're going to have to get done, and there's no way Aaron Rodgers is going to be in Lambeau with Jordan Love. It's just going to be such a uncomfortable thing. Kind of watching Belichick and Parcells be in the same room.
Yeah, I don't know exactly where they're going to be next year, but Lamar Jackson is not going to be in Baltimore, and Aaron Rodgers is not going to be with the Packers. But, Bo, I've really been trying to figure out, and it finally hit, who does Will Levis really remind me of? Big, strong-arm guy, pretty good pocket presence, but I don't think will ever be an NFL star. And it hit me in the SEC, the comparison. He's Kyle Trask.
That's a great comparison. That is a great, and I like it because it's so recent. It's not, we're not pulling down. That's a great comparison. But on the flip side, there's so much left unknown about Trask at this point. And I know, down at the Combine, their GM raved about him and talked. What else is he supposed to say though? You'd have thought they were more happy about him than the day that they signed Brady. I don't know. I actually think if the draft was happening tonight, I'd actually say Hendon Hooker goes higher than Will Levis in the draft.
Wow. He's better.
If we're going off to even down at the
now
Combine.
I want to see medicals after last year, but if you're good to go on the medical front, I just think he's a better player. All the mock drafts are really starting to settle. Next week, we want your top 10 mock draft next week, but it looks like the first 5 will be 4 SEC players and C.J. Stroud in some order.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to argue that, and you could, it's kind of like you could even take certain names out, and you're probably going to come back with the exact same in terms of, you're going to have one Big Ten guy, and then the rest again, you're going to have SEC guys. No matter how you slice it, that's basically going to be the gist of it. So. Richardson is hot. I still don't know. The size I think really changes the dynamic for him, but the accuracy. I'm looking at Anthony Richardson right now. Is teams know that he's not going to be the pure pocket passer that you envision. You're taking him for that Lamar Jackson-esque type of style where he can't throw the football, but he's going to really hurt you when the play breaks down, or he's going to be able to get those big chunk plays. I think the Colts, and usually, they'll probably sign Lamar Jackson after we hang up, but I think if you're the Indianapolis Colts, you're looking at this as, why would we invest so much money in the Jackson when we possibly can move up to 3 or maybe even sit at 4 and get the next Lamar Jackson at a rookie cost? So I think that's kind of what – I think if Anthony Richardson wasn't in this draft, anybody eyeing Lamar Jackson – might be thinking, we could get the Lamar Jackson 2.0, in the draft, and we're going to be under that rookie contract. And we all know that the rookie contract and having a quarterback at that level, that heightens your ability to sign other guys. That's your Super Bowl window. Once you got to pay these guys that second contract, that really shrinks what you can do as a team in terms of filling all those little spots that you can when these guys are under the tiny salary scale.
But when it comes to a guy like Jalen Carter, who we saw what he did on the field at Georgia, just unbelievable talent on the defensive line, but it seems like since the season has ended, it's just been all negative things off the field from him. I mean, involved in the fatal car crash and then showing up to his pro day a little overweight, and then now him and his agent saying he's not going to meet with teams outside the top 10. It just seems like a lot of negative buzz coming from his side. But what do you make of him? Do you still think he's a top 10 pick in this draft?
I think the legalities behind him, I think he is, and I think for anybody, it doesn't. I shouldn't say a young adult, but anybody, that if you had to kind of go through what he's went through in the last several months, I mean, being a witness to what happened, being there on the scene, dealing with that, and then then they really did. I mean, it was a dirty move. I mean, he arrives in Indianapolis, and then the charges come. I mean, that was a planned thing. I mean, all those things to really throw him off his game. And then you have the pro day. I don't think you would be in your right mind. I don't think you're waking up every day where you're thinking, hey, you know what, me getting in the best position to run my short shuttle is the most important thing to me right now. I think there's a lot of things on this young man's mind, and I think Rosenhaus is doing a masterful job. We know he's a masterful technician at being able to sell his guys. That's why he has, I mean, I forget the numbers, but, say if the best agency or one of the top agencies, they have 70 guys. I think Rosenhaus has like 130. It's astonishing how many guys he has under contract. So he knows what he's doing, and those guys know that he knows what he's doing. So I just think it's a little bit of so much going on all at once. I mean, you just, for him to just kind of come up and catch his breath coming up from underwater, if you will. I mean, you think of everything that's happened, and then it's happened in this roller coaster, this vacuum from January till now, where you got to be on point every single moment of the day. And I think allowing him to relax and maybe get his mind right, and we talk about mental health now more than ever, I think getting that kid's mental health right in the right place and allowing him to really kind of focus and concentrate, I think it's a good move in terms of him not going to visit the teams. I don't look at it as a standoffish move. I look at it as him turning his nose to these other teams. I think it's more of saving himself mentally. And I really do think in the long run he will be a top 10 pick. If the legal stuff was still hanging over him, that's where I think it's an unknown. But we know what the things are right now with the probation, et cetera, et cetera. So I think those teams who want to pull the trigger on him, they can get that done and feel secure that, get him his help he needs. And then kind of hope, the kid that you see at Georgia dominating is the kid that you pick inside the top 10.
Yeah. Some free agency news, too. It looks like the other day the Ravens offered a contract offer to Odell Beckham Jr. Where do you think he could land? Is the Ravens a spot you could see him fitting at? And how much of a factor do you think he can be in a receiver group this year?
Well, I mean, for Baltimore, I think it's an incredible move. I mean, they've been looking for a receiver for, I can't remember the last time they had a receiver I could compare him to. So, very good at the tight end position all the time. So I think it would be a good move. You just got to get a quarterback. And if Lamar doesn't come back, then you're like, well, you got Odell Beckham now. Who's throwing the ball to him? So it's, you got to think that Lamar Jackson, absent of the trade, he's not going to turn down the money. I mean, you don't want to go that route and sit out, and very few do. We don't want to go down the Le'Veon Bell roll. So, but I think Odell Beckham in that offense, the healthy J.K. Dobbins, your Mark Andrews, all those other little peaches, the emergence of Isaiah Likely, their other tight end. Those are those integral little things. Beckham showed in the Super Bowl prior to the ACL that he had it. He really found another rhythm again, what we're accustomed to once he arrived in Los Angeles. That was kind of taken away in that Browns offense. So is he the player that he was 5 years ago? No, but is he still probably better than most receivers? That's why, he's asking for the money he is. I think that's a fair enough assessment. It's just him coming to grips with what he's going to be paid, and him accepting that he has to prove himself over. And for a lot of guys at that level, it's kind of hard to be shunned. Usually you're catered to. One every door that you want opens, and you get whatever you want when you walk through the door. He's kind of having those doors shut a little bit on him. He tried to get in last year when he wasn't healthy, thinking that he would get signed. That's just not the case. He has to, bear down and deal with the reality that, if you're this talented as you are, plan a one-year deal, and next year when free agency hits in 2024, you can get that big contract that you crave.
But I just really cannot tell which one I would prefer over the other one. It's a tough choice for Charlotte. They're doing their work on the quarterback position, but I think you'd be just as fine with C.J. Stroud or with Bryce Young. Both of them were heavily coached, very guarded to ever run the ball because of their size and because how vital they were and they will be in the pros to their team's success. So you can't knock one's running or lack thereof and not knock the other one, because both were so heavily coached to never tuck it and run it. They wanted them winning in the pocket.
Yeah, and that's a great thing for those guys, learning that trait, learning how to check down, going through your progressions, being able to read a defense. Listen, I'm convinced from the combine on that Bryce Young was going to be the number one pick. I'm sticking to that, and this has nothing to do with anything against Stroud or Richardson or Hendon Hooker or Will Levis. I just think that teams, when you are in a one-on-one situation and you realize how brilliant mentally Bryce Young is, and then you know that athleticism is there and the way that he helped Alabama, I think it's a slam dunk. I would be shocked right now, and I was shocked. I would have been shocked even if the Combine was the same day as the draft back in February or March, whenever it starts, that Young wasn't the guy. When he sits in that room, and I've talked to several high-caliber people at the next level, I mean, they're just blown away. If he was 6'2", if he was C.J. Stroud's size, if they had identical measurements, this would not even be a conversation. It would be.
What if he was Will Levis's size?
Oh man!
Oh, it tell you what, then the Bears would have kept the number 1 pick. I can tell you.
David Tepper may give part of the ownership to him in Charlotte.
Yeah. From what I'm told, and the way teams have reacted by being around him, and just his mental makeup at the position, if he was the size or the athleticism of Richardson, you'd probably be talking about a generational type talent where the sky's the limit, and just
get the Hall of Fame speech ready.
A Hall of Fame situation. I mean, the measurements were there. So, but hey, Drew Brees didn't have the measurements. There's certain guys that come along every once in a while that break the mold. 5'8" Darrell Green, Hall of Famer.
Russell Wilson.
Drew Brees, Russell Wilson. So
Fran
very rare. It happens. It does happen. You can't. And again, some of the guys that I talk to, I keep hating to bring the Combine up, but we're talking about the draft, and that's why we're down there, because we're talking about the draft. And some of the guys, one of the coaches I talked to was, he likes a bigger quarterback. He just prefers a bigger quarterback. So, it's what teams prefer. But again, I think Young, is he small? We know he's not 200 pounds, or he would have weighed himself at the pro day. That was just a gimmick to get him over the number at the Combine. So, I mean, if you're over 200 pounds, you're going to be more than glad to step on that scale. So, but that's another thing. I remember Mike Tomlin at training camp joking with Ryan Shazier years ago that, Ryan said how much he weighed during his pro day or the Combine, and Tomlin joked back and you haven't weighed anything close to that since. He's like, you're lucky you're 219 when you weigh in. So it's just one of those things.
Well, it's going to be fun as we get closer and closer to the NFL draft. But Bo, thanks for joining us. Have a good week, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Much love, gentlemen. Stay safe.
Thanks, Bo. Bo Marchant from collegetopro.com and Sports Illustrated. Well, like I said at the beginning of this hour, we're out early for Ole Miss and Memphis pregame, so let's go ahead and get to Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, I've got two things for what I learned today. Two quick things. 18 minutes ago, John Rothstein reported that Ole Miss' Matthew Morrell will enter the 2023 NBA draft while maintaining his college eligibility. We talked about his commitment last week or the week before that he was going to return to Ole Miss, but obviously just kind of seeing what's out there in the NBA draft. They give a lot of, they tell these guys what you need to work on, how to get better so that you can be drafted one day. So I think it's a good move for him and definitely a great get by that Ole Miss staff to keep him. The second thing I learned, some breaking news from DeMichael Cole. I guess not really breaking news, but he just tweeted that the Grizzlies will have more of an update on Steven Adams towards the end of the week. So I guess Thursday or Friday or maybe into the weekend we'll get a better idea on when Steven Adams will return.
Yeah, it's no need to tell those other teams in playoffs who to start game planning for and getting ready for. And DeMichael told us yesterday when he joined us, he thought it would be later in the week. What I learned, Hey, I heard a great Jack Nicklaus quote. I don't know what I've had it on more today. The Golf Channel or Major League Baseball Network, but heard a great Jack Nicklaus quote, and the quote is, "You don't find your game at Augusta National, at the Masters. You bring it there and you display it." End of quote. And I think that fits for Phil, for Tiger, for Brooks Koepka, for Bubba Watson, for Patrick Reed, for Bryson DeChambeau, a lot of the LIV players. I don't think they really have a chance to win this week. I think it's players that have their games ready, like Rory or Scheffler or Rahm or Xander Schauffele or Tony Finau or Max Homa.
Yeah, that's interesting. I do like that quote, though. It's a really good quote. What I could have done without today, Jay, are you familiar with Adam Pally?
Tell me who Adam Pally is.
He's some actor. That's why I thought you maybe know him.
I've heard the name, but I don't recognize the name that
I don't know who he is.
Give us the breakdown, Jay Morgan.
Yeah, Jay, I was looking for what he's been in, how old he is.
All this stuff. I must have skipped that class.
Must have, the Adam Pally class. But Steph Curry is going to star in an NBC comedy called Mr. Throwback with Adam Pally. So I guess, we've seen a lot of guys go to the acting, but I guess Steph Curry's going to join the club.
How many shows will it last?
Probably not many. It's a mockumentary comedy on NBC. I don't know. It's the show will focus on a down-on-his-luck memorabilia dealer looking for redemption. So
who among us?
I don't know. Maybe who knows?
The memorabilia market. It's a good sign the economy's good when people are spending money on baseball cards found in your grandmother's attic.
That's right.
That means we got more money than sense. I could have done without this, speaking of baseball. And we were kind of happy for them over the weekend. Did y'all catch the box score attendance last night in Oakland? For a great game.
I wanted to look at it. It looked like there was nobody there.
Avert your eyes. Don't even look at it. Box score listed 3,035.
Good Lord. I mean,
3035.
It looked empty on television.
Isn't that crazy, though? Because Golden State has the longest home sellout streak in the league.
Yeah.
But they can't get anybody to go to the dadgum baseball
game. Well,
and
their AAA team in Las Vegas has a sellout streak going.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and that's a tough crowd. I don't know what it's going to be tonight at AutoZone Park as we started with today. I don't think I've changed over these 23 years. It sure has made sure feels different than 23 years ago when we were all so excited about the opening of AutoZone Park. Through the years, there's been a lot of general apathy around it, and the ballpark is I think in disrepair would be a way to put it, and the management's been poor, but I hope they have a decent crowd tonight and good for this first week of the year tonight through Sunday.
Yeah, but supposedly they fixed the Jumbotron. Not as many black little dots in there. The little pixels, that's right.
A supply chain, that's what got them.
You're exactly right. Got them multiple years in a row. Couldn't fix it.
Now explain cleaning the restrooms.
Yeah, I can only explain one thing per day, Brett, so I can't get into everything.
Supply chain
again.
Got rid of the
just
mops.
blame it on everything. That's right. But what I'm keeping an eye on tonight, obviously, Trailblazers at Grizzlies tonight at 7 o'clock. One TNT game, Celtics versus 76ers. But I'll be watching the Cardinals and Mariners in action tonight on the Diamond. Both teams kind of struggling yesterday, especially the Cardinals struggle against the Braves, but the Mariners have really struggled out the gate.
Dylan Dodd making his big league debut on the mound in St. Louis for the Braves against Steven Matz. Lakers in Salt Lake City against Utah. Golden State at home against Oklahoma City. They'll have more than 3,000 there. The Grizzlies can take care of Portland early and then scoreboard watch with the Pelicans playing Sacramento and the undefeated Rays. I know it's early. When are we going to learn to pick them?
I don't know. When people start showing up for their games, how about that?
Okay, that's fair.
Is that fair? I mean, maybe, but we're out early, like we said earlier, for Ole Miss versus Memphis tonight, a home game for the Tigers. You can catch all the action right here on Sports 56 coming up at 5:30. The pregame show with David Kellum. First pitch scheduled for 5:30. But that's all the time we've got. Enjoy your night. We'll see you again tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock.